no prelude, no auto running on at that time. So normally I got tabletop knocks on, but they're not on.
Okay. There we go.
Whew, so that went well last night, right?
Well, yes. Yeah.
Good. Glad everyone had a good
It
time.
was an awesome game. So it was so much fun. And I was funny when I rolled 2 when I needed to roll 1 and I rolled to 2.
Yeah, well, the funny thing was you used 6 hero points.
Exactly. I used 6 and it was barely, that was like hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
Yes.
You used 6 hero points, and that's what you needed. If you hadn't used all 6
Yeah,
of
if
them,
I used 6, then I would have missed. So yeah, it was funny. Yeah.
That's the way it goes, you know. Sometimes you
Yep.
fortuitous.
Yep.
I pulled out. I got copies of most of the modules, but some that are single copy on the wall, I didn't take them down. But I have them up in the scroller and individually on the screen. So hello, hey Crimson, good to see you, man. I know we were talking on Cannon Fire. A couple of people were surprised that we've never run Isle of Dread.
Okay. Yeah.
Never have.
Well, it's kind of far away from your normal stomping ground, so.
Oh yeah, that is definite, and
Well, you can make it simple. Say we do a 6-month journey on the ocean, and you're there, or you can teleport there, or you can have a gate there, so you don't.
yeah,
have
it's
to
so
make
long though. So it is
Yeah.
a long adventure.
You
So
should make it into a campaign, and you can use elements from the
and it's a possibility. It's a
Yeah.
possibility.
Yeah, meaning if you want to go off turf someday, you can kind of work that into a campaign.
The thing is that it's like N1. N1, I knew I wanted to run, but placing it. What's up, Troy? Troy, you know you won last night, right? Cabo, you won. You won the Oculus, the green Titan dice, by the way. So I think you may have logged right when we ended, but you won it. Yeah. So, yep. Yeah, you did. So, almost positive I have your address. I'll get them out to you. Not tomorrow though, because I ain't going anywhere with all the snow we're getting. So. Oh yeah, but it's not. I mean, Josh said he's getting bombarded. Josh Pop, and like where he lives out in Illinois.
Yeah.
So. Yep. Sure won last night too. We got 4 giveaways last night, so Chuck was already got the account step. Already got the. You sure? You sure, man? Are you absolutely positive? I mean, come on. You gave all those gift certificates to me for the other things. I mean, seriously. Oh my gosh! You said you had a double whammy win last night. That's awesome. You won on 2 things. Troy, you and I, we'll talk off the show about it. Make a decision. Sound good? So. Exactly. It's no big deal, man. I don't mind sending them. Does my mic output sound good? Because I'm always worried that, you guys said last night my Samsung area mic was low, so I upped my gain, and I want to make sure it's not too high on my headset.
Sounds good to me.
It sounds good? Okay,
Yeah, to me it sounds
all right,
good, but
all
we'll
right.
see if it sounds good on.
Yeah, they're saying it's good. Good.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. I didn't want it to be really crazy, too high for everyone, so. Awesome. Cool. We will, the ever mysterious Tim will be joining us at some point. As soon as he gets free from family obligations, he will be on. So. Considering some of the old school third party games that are on our wall are because of Tim introducing them to me, it's pretty important on the discussion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Two of them.
He played it. Yeah, he played it with you guys.
He DM'd them. He DM'd. He
okay.
DM'd both of them for me with me playing Hawk and Gazumba. Yeah. So. Well, Kung Fu, hang with us instead if they canceled, man. I'm sorry to hear that, but just hang out and have fun with us on this. This is going to be a cool discussion, and we keep it way open for everyone. Because, you know, my 24 on my wall are not everyone else's 24. You know what I mean? So, and that's the great thing about running your own campaign and DMing and doing things a little differently. So. I haven't really talked about this really since, well, I'll wait till we get on here. We'll be on in a minute here. This is over. I'll cut short the intros. Gotta keep on looking up. Say the idea for going on the wall was I stole from another friend of mine. I'll talk about that.
Yeah, you have to tell how the wall came about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's a good story. Flipping around, so I'm trying to make sure I got the right things open here. I'm good. Boom. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm J.K. Lord Gazumba. I have a little bit of a scratch of a throat, and I'm not ill or anything, but I talked so much yesterday.
Yeah, you babbled. We played for like 5 hours or something.
Yeah, it was like, what's up, Naz?
5, 6.
We were on stream for 6 hours, 6 minutes. That's total from start to finish, counting preludes and
and you talk as much as all of us combined, so to speak. So you.
And plus, I had meetings all that Saturday morning with prepping for Underdark Uprising and Gary Con, and two of them. I had two separate. My throat was my voice was hacked at that point. But so good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's well. Hopefully I'm getting hammered with snow, so I know I'm not going anywhere tomorrow, which is kind of a good thing. I don't have to worry about getting out. Well, I usually don't go out on the roads Mondays anyway. But so as people are coming on here, this whole idea to go back to the wall, one of our viewers went on the YouTube vids I have stored, and went all the way back to Gabbin 8 when we discussed putting the final 6 on the wall. And and put up some really cool comments on it. I said, you know what, we haven't talked about. That's got to be 2 years. Like number 8, it's got to be over 2 years ago. Uh, just with the numbers, it's like
Yeah.
that's a 122 shows. It's got to be because I don't do a
You
show
don't.
every week. It's like I do
Yeah, but
50
you
a
do
year.
like 40 a year or something. So
Yeah, yeah. So it had to be right at the
yeah.
beginning, number 8, and I'm like, we got to go back and just talk about all the
Hmm.
adventures and why, and some of them are for different reasons, but so I thought this would be a good idea. This is a little bit of a downwards. Understand me without Ed. Ed was
Oh
unbelievable
yeah.
last week, and
Yeah.
Ed will be back on. So. Oh, that was it. Okay, thanks, Steve. Okay,
Awesome.
Steve,
Yeah.
I got it now. You're the Steve. I couldn't figure out which Steve it was, so thank you. I mean, I
Yeah.
really appreciated the comments on that. And that's one of the reasons why I was doing the show here, getting back and going into my thought processes, and we talked
Yeah.
about, and we cut down that last 6, but how we got
Yeah.
to there, and so when I moved into this house in 2013, you've all seen my basement, and it's like the entire length of the house. And it runs, the hole's huge, and there's 2 open areas in the front and in the back. Where in the back's where we play, have this long hallway, and I knew I wanted to have bookshelves running along the lengths, but I knew there was going to be open wall space. And so I said, man, you know what? What would be cool? My buddy Steve, another Steve, who doesn't play, and he's Rocinante. He cheers a lot though, right? Has all his old Beatles and Rush and Who album covers up, all his vinyl record up on his
Ah.
wall in his
Hmm.
basement. I'm like,
Yeah.
I bet you I can find the right frame size. It's because it's almost like a standard notebook size, and I could do that with my D&D modules.
Yeah.
I was like, that would be cool. And I asked everyone, and it's like, yeah, that's a great idea. And that's how it came about, was putting them up. So
Yeah.
I was really, uh, yeah, you were absolutely there, Tim. You were, with the 30-month subscriber. You're as long as it is, man. Absolutely, going all the way back. You probably were we probably had like a 10 to 13 viewer average on that show. So, you were there for it, and that is so insanely crazy. And I thank everyone else who's watching now, and been participating. But so I did a little research. I really went into depth on this, on what's up there. So some stats here.
Yeah.
Of
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Go
go
on.
ahead. No, what was your
I was
question?
going to say, I was going to ask, what are the general criteria for a module or an adventure to end up there? So
Good question.
yeah.
Published first off, right?
Hmm.
I I have to have it in hardback form, right? I don't
Okay.
want to
Yeah.
have,
No
because we have a separate
PDFs.
thing for
No.
dungeon magazines, right? We
Uh-huh.
have we have
Yeah.
4 for dungeon
Hmm.
magazines, and dragon magazines,
Yeah.
I can't put hardbacks up there, right? Obviously, but I'm going to talk about one that I really want to put up there. Maybe if I
Hmm.
do another row or something like
Yeah.
that. What's going on there, Mike and Jim? Good to see you all. As we just starting to
Yeah.
get
Welcome.
cranked up here. Um, and the modules had to have an effect on our campaign somehow, or
Hmm.
me personally, or something. There had to be a
Yeah.
major, because like what decides goes up there or not, and that's the tough thing.
Yeah.
So stat wise, out of the 24, 21 are TSRs. There's 21 TSRs. I think of those, 20 are first edition and 1 is second edition. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and that's where it would be with old school
Hmm.
gaming. 3 are non-TSR. Um, here's some weird quirks. 3 are not on my adventure log at all, because 3 of them
Okay.
were done before I started logging adventures at number 1. Because we ran stuff before then, but it wasn't really a campaign. We're just
It
playing
wasn't exactly
games.
not an organized
Yeah,
series of events. It was just like get together and have fun, play an
absolutely. So 3
adventure.
of
Yeah.
them, and we'll go
Yeah.
over. I'm going to go over one immediately, and I don't have. I'll be throwing. I'm not going to touch the scroller because this new stupid scroller drives me crazy. But I'm going to
Yeah.
put them up under Anna as we talk about
Yeah. Well,
them.
yeah. You can put them over me
I'm
or
going to
whatever
pop
as
them
need
no,
it.
I'll put
Yep.
them right beneath you.
Okay,
So I've
perfect.
been
Yep.
watching all the previous episodes. Yeah, well, thank you. That's
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
appreciate that compliment because we really, we had Ed Greenwood
Yep.
on last week, and we have a lot of really other cool stuff coming, and it's been a great run. I'm really having a blast with this, and that's the thing. We're all having fun,
Yep.
and that's what I want it to be. So, I'm glad that everyone's enjoying it. I'm glad that everyone is really, having a great time with talking to us. We got the talk shows and watching the games and just participating in the community. So, if we go back to the very first one I want to talk about, and hopefully we'll get to everything tonight, and that is why is it up there? And okay, all right, Jay. I'm looking through the list here. I know, like, I have it in here to flip up, and then I don't see it. Here it is. Hidden Shrine of Tomoakan. Okay, C1, first competition module. Now, this is the one that's set. What is this in Hupmona Land or down? I forget.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's down on Hipmona Land. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
it's down there, and why on this one? This is my first experience with a published Advanced Dungeons and Dragons module. First one.
Oh, okay.
So now this does not count Keeping the Borderlands, which is B1, which is in that original box set, the Holmes Basic box set. What's up,
Oh,
Rich?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have the Holmes Basic box set with B2. I have the Prison Edition Chits B2. Um, then my other buddy Bill Runzer, who doesn't play anymore, gave me his Holmes Edition box set, which had B2 as well, and he had a set of dice because he said
Hmm.
after the first summer he said he didn't think he was going to play anymore. So, but when Advance came out, this is the first module that we got. I don't know why, but that's the one we got was Tomoakan, and like it had all the pictures in it, right? It was cool
Yeah.
because you open it up, it's like when you could see what the hallway looked like,
Hmm.
right? And it
Yeah, it
was
was when they introduced that kind of illustrations from the Temple of Elemental Evil and stuff had a whole booklet full of these.
yeah, and it had like number one encounter
Yeah.
in there, and it
Hmm.
had the one where you had the will-o-wisp running around through there. You had the sylph in there. You
Yeah.
had the gibbering mouther picture. You had
Yeah,
all
because
sorts of stuff in
yeah,
there.
yeah, Keeper the Borderlands and a few other, they are so old that the way to publish a module was still not really refined enough, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and they were trying to be descriptive.
Hmm.
Um, they're trying to be descriptive on how you get a picture in your head, and I was like, that
Yeah.
is so cool.
Yeah.
And I remember the axe on the wall. Was that an axe, everyone? If you remember, there was an axe on the wall, and it had a shadow of an arm instead of having a normal shadow to it. And my character was dumb enough to grab it, and then have the worry of a spirit imbued within him. And
Hmm.
it was so trap laden. It was probably not a good adventure for like what year did that come out? We got it in 78 or 79, I think, for a 12-year-old to have. I was like, we're not going to survive this. You
Yeah.
know. Yeah, well, Styler, that's the second one I'm going to talk about, absolutely. I think I ran that multiple. We all ran it multiple times, over and over and over. Thanks, Nick Sky, for that host. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the first one, I've never run this for my players in my campaign with a number on it. So it was run pre Orderville campaign time. Orderville does
Yeah.
not exist when we're running. When we're
But
just
that
running
means that,
adventures.
yeah, but that's just like the Isle of Dread. This is a possibility. You can weave in a story and pop over to Hepmona Land and run over and run it, so to speak.
True, and but the thing is how much time do I have in my life at this point with
That's
20
true.
different adventuring groups,
Yeah.
and
But you have to come up with a portal ID or something that
mhm.
works that way, so you can cut down the travel time, so to speak. You have
Yeah,
to,
and we ran, and I'll talk about one. It's not a couple that aren't on the list. Like N1, which I just
yeah.
finished N1 a month ago. I had
Mhm.
not run, and it was adventure whatever 894, and we're on 900 now. I have never run against Call the Reptile Guide in my life. in
That's
41
true. And then
years.
you move that to the Wild Coast, and that way you
Yeah,
can, yeah,
absolutely, because it fit
yeah,
with a group and stuff. But I took
yeah,
years for me to plan
hmm
that out with the way we play now. All
yeah.
right, so that TomorrowCon, that's one of the ones on, and it's on the top of the Wall of Fame. Okay, that's one there. Oh, but Geek, there's more soft cover modules coming. Yeah, there's one coming from myself and Carlos for you shortly, right? So we got some. Carlos has a whole slew of soft cover modules. What's up, George? Good to see you. So you never forget your first. Well, that is a funny story too. So if I'm gonna, here's a trivia question. You probably won't get it. I have 900 logged adventures right now. Out of my numbers, what is the number 8? Is the first published adventure I did. 1 through 7 were my own homebrews back then in the Order of Yule campaign. What adventure was number 8? This is going to be a tough one. The first published module I ran logged in my Order of Yule campaign. You'll never guess. So, but that's a tough one. It's not Hamlet. It's not. But here's another thing. If we go look at this sheet I've put together, most of these are within the first 118 first 118 adventures. A lot of these are in out of 900. So, um, no, Cult of the Reptile Guide, Naz, I just ran. That's N1. I just ran it. No, it's not. It was Two Mahars. Geek, that's close. Okay, so Two Mahars. We'll talk about that one real quick. Two Mahars is pre-logged adventures 2. I never ran Two Mahars in the Order of Yule campaign. We ran it for a group of people were playing pre-storyline. We had stuff going on in Selene and all, but it still wasn't logged adventure time. I didn't start logging adventures till I met Tim and Walt. And that's when I started logging adventures. At this point, I'm still the only person you would know from my group is I'm playing with Alan, and there's a couple other guys that haven't played in 40 years. So Barrier Peaks is but doesn't even make the list here. Nope. Good guess. Oh, George said it. I love it. S4. George guessed it. S4. Shokanth. Okay. Somehow, I think what happened was we had a guy who sold modules, was a reseller in the town that Walt grew up in Haddon Heights. And we were in high school, and he went over to this guy Dave's house. This Dave had remember I showed you the picture of the cases in Dragon Magazine? He sold the miniatures cases, real big. It was called Griffin Games. He sold you could fit hundreds of miniatures in it.
Uh-huh.
And that was, he sold Walt that module, and he said, you should run this for our group. And that was the first one I ran with Shokanth. And
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, it was number 8. Yeah. That's the first one out of all the ones on this wall that you see up there that I ran. And I ran it a couple times, changed up a little bit, made some changes, but that's the lowest number out of all of these on this wall of 24,
Yeah.
if they appeared in the campaign with Shokanth,
hmm
which is kind of surprising. I didn't
Yeah.
even know that Thowers didn't exist at this time. I don't think it did. I think because Shokanth comes out so much earlier.
Oh yeah, I don't think he was a thing, but
Yeah.
then it comes back later and kind of connect to the same area and the same idea behind it, so to speak. But that's interesting and that's one, I think a good tip is that you can take one of these modules and run it, and then you can keep that in mind, and then you can kind of change the plot to use the same locations and maybe even a lot of the same NPCs and stuff, and come back at a later date for a different reason, so to speak, too. And that way it will save you, that way it will be a new take on an old location that
Oh,
can still make a lot of sense and be a lot of fun, so to speak.
absolutely. So once again, Jay's a little off his game. All right. So I want we're giving away a $25 gift certificate for Reaper and Troller Games tonight, courtesy of Troy Cannibal Eridar again, because he's very generous there. So let me set that up for you all. And these are these are different than the ones you just got last night. So you could actually, you could go on a real roll. Let me set this up, and yes, so we got some goodies tonight here. I just Jay is brain fried here, but
Wow,
it's a Sunday. Oh,
not
last night
clean.
was
Yeah.
last night was a blast. If you didn't watch last night, wow, it was a fun game last night. and Kayla fit right in, so it was perfect. She did a really good job. So she
Oh
fit right.
yeah, she was amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Well, she
yeah.
is
So
amazing.
this is what I want to show you, Dead Sky. So that's my Shokanth. I have one here. This is a second copy because I have one on my wall, right? And this one's in plastic. All right. And look at this reprint. This is a reprint of
Oh,
Shokanth. So
yeah,
this is
it
one of the
looks
ones the
great.
Canadians given me as a giveaway, right? So I'm going to be doing
Mhm.
that down the road here. But see,
That's
this is the
perfect. Yeah.
way that you should go. Is you should go to drive through, get recommendations from me, from people on Cannon Fire, people on Greyhawk Online, what are good ones, and just buy the reprint and buy a
Yeah.
couple at a time so it saves
You
on shipping.
Yeah,
And
you can,
yeah,
and they available the PDF too if you want as
yeah,
well. So it's great. I bought tons of the old stuff in PDF, and that way I can use it for research, and I can put them in my Evernote, and then I can just search for a name and
sure.
see where it comes up and stuff. So it's great. So get both the print or the PDF or whatever version suits you. But lots of old Greyhawk stuff is available now at Drive Through. It's amazing.
This is a reprint. Okay, now I have an original with courtesy once again a Canadian Ancient Gamer.
Yeah.
This is a reprint, and that's
That looks as
hardback.
good as, yeah, it looks
It's
as good
thicker.
as the,
It's more thick.
they have
The
maybe a
paper
better
quality,
paper.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but I don't want to crack it. I want because I don't need to open it, but yeah. So
yeah,
you can get hardback too. So, like I said,
that
we got a
is
lot of cool
great.
stuff to give away. Um, so the cool thing, if you don't know about Shokanth, two unbelievably cool. There's more than two, and this is why it was like a no-brainer for me on the wall. Drelsna's in here. Only thing I regret is having her get killed in this adventure because she's such a great written up character, right? And that's the Ayu's half
Yeah,
sister, the vampires in here.
that's the bad thing for NPCs. You have to make sure that you don't kill them off too early, or the party, the players don't kill them, characters kill them off too early, because then that might, yeah. But
I
on the other hand, it's kind of awkward if they come in and the players are successful and then poof, they're just gone. Meaning when I
right.
started DMing, they teleported away when I needed them, and that gets silly fairly quickly, so to speak. So they need to, yeah, you need to get them out in a believable fashion and not just cheat as a DM and they kind of just, yeah, pop out. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I didn't learn that too well until later on, right?
The
Because I'm
same thing
still
with me. It
young
took me a
here.
long time, yeah, long
You
time
know,
into my DM career before I started to
this,
realize that
this came
is
out
not.
81, 82. So
Mhm.
you're looking at
Yeah,
really
that's when I
young
was in
here.
high school. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's you know, also, and this is going to be funny. The irony on this. So Carlos slicing. This is his favorite module of all time. Oh, thanks DM for that gift sub. That's awesome, Dave. This is Carlos's favorite module of all time. It's in my top 3.
Mhm.
There's an entire supplemental appendix of rules and monsters and stuff in the back of this, right? Pre Monster Manual 2. A lot of them come in
Yeah,
here.
they had to add additional
A ton.
rules to yeah.
They add a whole bunch of things in here. It's great. So that is the theory behind what Carlos did for our horror
Yeah,
in the
I was just
Holes for my
that's exactly
appendix.
what you guys did
Right,
with the horror of the Hools.
right.
Yep.
And so Carlos goes, "We're going to do this in the style of Shokanth." I
Yep.
was like, "That's brilliant, Carlos." So just
Yep.
to toot my own horn a little bit on that and hit that
Uh-huh.
up there
And
so that you can
then
see.
yeah, if you keep this up, like add rules for future modules, then you can add the rules together
Yep,
and
Magic
give
Items as
away
well.
as a rule compendium
Right.
when, yeah, eventually,
Absolutely.
so to speak,
And add it in.
for,
And
yeah.
Carlos is also, and you'll see a genius at stripping out proprietary content and things,
Yeah.
and it made it really made it really worthwhile. So that's number 8. So that's early on. So look at that. We've gotten through 3 already. Tomoa-kan, Tomb of Horrors, which I don't want to say much about Tomb of Horrors. It's a death trap, right?
Yeah,
So if you run,
I think that was the whole idea, was to kill
yeah.
off the characters and see
What's up,
who could
Corey?
survive the longest, so to speak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a major death trap, and
Mhm.
so cool. I appreciate that you
Way
looked into
back.
it because
Yep.
we are really excited about this module coming out that we ran at Gen Con, and I'm running both parts at I'm sorry, at GaryCon this year as well. I keep on looking up everyone because I'm waiting for Tim. Tim will be on like
Oh yeah,
shortly.
that comes
I
the
keep on
blue
like
button up there. Yep.
looking. Now
Yep.
the third one's strange. Pre And I'm trying to remember how this happened because we had to run the G and D series beforehand, but I think I reran them and then logged them in with a different group and some different people. I think that's what happened here. But the other third one that is not on my list at all is Queen of the Demon Web Pits. I think that's
Oh,
1980.
did you miss that one?
No, we ran it because it's beat to
Yeah.
hell. So what I believe happened. Oh, back if that's cool, man. You guys, you're being very
Yeah.
generous, Dave. Thank you. Really appreciate it. What I think happened was I ran this right before I met Walt and Tim with Alan and Bill and a guy named Matt, and it's a different Bill. It's not the Bill you know. And then over the holidays, right around that time is when I really started playing with them. So it's got good points and bad points. Queen of the Demoid Pits. I love it for one reason, and I bet you Ashur knows the reason, and a couple of the other ones know the reason why I love this module so much. And it has nothing to do with Loth or the spider ship or any of the other things with Queen of the Demonwed Pits. And what do you think that reason is? Go ahead, Ashur. What do you think that reason is that I love a
Mm.
Q1 so much? It's one thing that was awesome, um, and that is well, Palace of the Silver Princess is cool too. That's another neat one. Tim's dad ran that for me. Exactly, Assure's dead on. Okay, yes, the vampires, Enoch. See, you're starting already. By the way, John at Blue Box had a Brazier worn vampiric dinosaur drawing contest over on his channel that they finished up today, and yeah, with all these drawings. So the world gates were so the idea behind wow, there's gates onto the abyss to all these other worlds
Ah, that was introduced in, and that was the first module that
that
you
I
ran
I
into
knew
that.
of. Oh yeah, and you
Yeah.
could go through
Hmm.
those gates and go in. So
Yeah.
we Maldives and Sierra City. We have done adventures in Sierra City afterwards. For years, we've gone back and forth there. It's really
Hmm.
cool. It's a
Yeah.
hey, Lord Forth, what's going on? I love that idea. There's that prison world where the guy's in the cage, guarded by the Bone Colossus. Oh, it was so neat. There's that world where I think it's ruled by undead and there's no sun. Um, Kind of like maybe that's where the Ravenloft idea came from. But that's why I love this adventure module so
Yeah.
much, and that's why it's on there. I don't think it's on there for the story of the going after Loth. So yeah, yeah, it's really cool, and you know that's it. Trinax, that's it, Tim. Yeah, all sorts of different great little stories, and you come across Dryaders in this too, and it was funny that we know now the Demon Web is based on a tablecloth, and we learned that from Ed Greenwood last week for this adventure.
Yeah.
So, Geek Isle of Dread, we're gonna talk. Isle of Dread's not on my list anywhere because I never ran Isle of Dread. I don't. I own one. It's buried somewhere, but I've never run Isle of Dread. So it's just one of those that I didn't run any of the expert ones because we went from basic into D&D, and I'm like, oh, this is expert rules, and I never even looked at them. It was only until about 10, 12, whenever Gary's article in Isle of Dread came out that I really even looked at it again and gave it a second thought. And
Yeah.
what was that? 20 years ago? The Isle of Dread article was that about 20 years ago? I know,
Eh,
Dave. It's a great adventure. It's so long. And we'll talk about long adventures. I'm going to show you how long they can be. I mean, they can be super long. All right. So after number 8, number 17 on and this is my number of logged adventures. Number 17 is a ultimate classic. One of the when you see this, you'll be like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. And that is the Against the Giants. So I run G1 through 3 for a group, and there's nothing more iconic than the Giant series, and so that just loved it. Loved the
Giants are awesome because they give a lot of combat. They're tough combat opponents that really with lots of hit points and can hurt bad and stuff. So you can, yeah,
Yeah, and you can, and this is pre 25th anniversary edition, right? So Return to the Giants is nowhere near to be found yet. So this is pre
it's true. That's the
1992 or
original. Yeah.
whenever.
Mhm.
This is the
Yeah.
original. Actually, this is
With the
G1 through 3 together because those are
I
so
was just going to say
small,
they were published separately
separate.
first, I guess, and then this came as a collection,
And
just
then
like
they
they did with
published,
Temp.
yeah,
Yeah.
they published D1 and D2 together, but not
Okay.
D3.
Ah. Hmm.
So, which I was happy about too, because if I go now, here's the weird thing: they're all over the in this first 118 adventures that I've run. Vault of the Drow is now number 62. Okay, it's not after the G123 and D1 D2 because we're bouncing around then too. So Vault of the Drow is at number 62. Now I had run Vault of the Drow for the original group, my friends back then, but we're not. It's not in a campaign setting. Um, right before we ran Q1, and it's probably 2-3 years or 2-3 years earlier. But this
Yeah.
was, the first time it's been run. It was run in my campaign was number 62. And basically, I said this on the last week. This is the adventure that is the Bible for me for Drow and Greyhawk. So,
Hmm.
about the 4E book against see who's connected against the Giants.
Oh,
Well, I don't know if it is it. I mean, I imagine Mac it is. So,
yeah. Hello, David.
yeah,
Good to see you again. Yep.
yeah, good. I'm looking
Yep.
here, and what is? Oh, okay. Yeah. 1 second. Let me get a scratch throat here. Oh man, this Yeti keeps the coffee hot. So, Walter the Drow, and at least Ed agreed with me that um, Drow got a really crazily powered because of the Ari Salvatore books. And
Yeah.
I really prefer the Greyhawk version of Drow over the Forgotten Realms version any day. Um, and when Arcana came out, they really souped them up. But fortunately, I didn't have that many Drow in my campaign. But we have some,
Yeah.
like everyone wanted to play one, but then the luster wore off pretty quickly, which is good. Really a good thing. Tales from the Yawning Portal has G123 included and updated for 5e. I've heard that, Corey, that it has. Yep. I heard that it has. And I appreciate that the chat is going by quickly, and I want to make sure I don't miss anything here. Um, run it with Blue Box. Corey, which one did you say run with Blue Box? So just let me know which one you said that. He was sitting there. X1. I blame anything that happened on my early characters. So we'll talk about that. Oh my God, John would go crazy with all the dinosaurs in X1, right? It's not. Yeah, John's not running X1. You know that. You guys are
Yeah.
gonna
I
torture
don't like
John.
exactly. Yeah, I don't like the dinosaurs either. But you can have many. I love my dragons, so but I don't want to mix them with too much reality. I want my fantasy
Hey Gauger, what's going on?
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to do that, but
But I can understand if you want to run the campaign with them because they are big, beefy things that can, yeah, a T-Rex is kind of cool. And yeah, so meaning there are many different, but I want to stay away from the real world ones, which is weird because I like kind of mammoths and woolly rhinos and a whole bunch of other stuff in my game. So I don't
right.
know what I'm wrong with dinosaurs. It's, yeah, but so I know I'm the inconsistent one because I bring a lot of real world stuff into my games, but for some reason not dinosaurs. But yeah,
I
so
used raptors once a long time
uh-huh,
ago, and
yeah.
that was from a dungeon magazine.
Yeah, but I might want
But
to. What I will do is that what I'm thinking I don't like is the Latin names of stuff. If they call them sand lizards or something like that, I will be happy doing it. So yeah, put
yeah,
them in.
that's what we're talking about. To Isle of Dread, because the Isle of Dread doesn't make it anywhere near on my wall of fame because we never ran it. But
Yeah,
some of these are popping up, and number 15 is showing right now, and let's ode out to Len. and that is Secret of Bone Hill. Now,
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
don't please don't take this the wrong way for everyone out there. I think that if you look at first level, this is actually not a first level adventure. It's 2 to 4, but there's enough prelude stuff in there because it has a sandbox features, a lot of encounters around it. And I think there's Knoll Hills, and Knolls are tough, but there's things you can work into it. I like Bone Hill better than Hamlet, but not as a town setting. Does that make sense? Hamlet is the best starter town setting they've ever developed, right? Because
Yeah.
it's got all
Mm-hmm.
sorts of,
Yeah.
and if you know how to
But
develop side quests, but
yeah.
pre-developed side quests, Bone Hill has more,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
Yeah.
kind of why I like Bone
It's
Hill.
a good starter sandbox, so to speak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Bone Hill is, and it's on Lendor, but don't say this to Len. I never ran anything on Lendor Isle.
No,
I
but Lendor Isle is a bit like Isle of Dread. It's a far away from your
yes,
stomping grounds. The same thing.
hey
I never
David.
gone there either because it's far away from all the places I've run my campaigns so far. So
Yeah,
it is far away. But now when I have that, I might want to dig into Lendor Isles for a future campaign. Definitely, because now I want to do hopping. I want to keep a campaign with a group of characters and stuff and do that for some years. And then when we feel like we've done this, then I want to start over again, and maybe Lendor Isle might be the place. I don't know yet.
yeah. For your campaign, that may be a great idea. So,
Yeah.
so Bloodwild, never don't listen to Josh. Josh is razzing you on getting now, but Canadian sent me, Canadian sent it to me in a reprint. Now I have the
Ooh.
original. I was so when I bought this, I was like, oh my god,
Oh, then
Castle Greyhawk's finally
yeah.
done. I was like, what the
And then
hell
oh
is
god.
this?
Yeah, and that's the humorous kind of
Yeah, so
going
there,
nuts
that's
module.
WG7. No,
Yeah. I
yeah,
think if that will be advertised and sold like this is the funny, silly version of it, people would have liked it. But a
right.
lot of people, including me, I
We're
thought, oh,
angry.
this is Castle Greyhawk. And then this crap comes out that is not even serious. And I think it was marketed completely the wrong
Right.
way. If they made a cartoon front page thing on the illustration and then called it the silly version and had that up front, people would like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's the way
it
it should
was
have done.
yeah, it was a good module that was marketed and concepted or like produced into the wrong format, so to speak.
Speaking of formats, I'll throw
Yeah.
this out there right now. I don't Sunday nights. I don't stream Gabbins during holidays and the Super
And
Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Okay,
Yeah. So
but
next
we're
Sunday
gonna
then.
have
Yeah.
something Monday, and getting on that, and I'm finally gonna do D&D movies of the 80s and 90s. Okay, it's talking
Oh,
about.
yeah. Now I need to go back and find some of the old
That'll
ones.
be
Yeah,
next
I watched.
Monday.
Yeah, I've actually watched all the D&D movies at least once. I suffered through them,
So,
but yeah, I think I have the first one on DVD, so maybe I can watch it again. Then we'll
so
see then. Yeah,
just a little yeah, you like
yeah,
that? That'll be next a week from Monday, okay? Because
yeah.
no Super Bowl stream. I just wanted to let everyone know
No.
ahead of time.
And that will not be particularly serious.
Oh, that's
I
it.
guess.
That's why it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun Gabbin. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. All right. That'll be a cool one. So, Bone Hill, iconic. Now, if you, Steve, Chemist, you saw this, and I'm going to go an honorable mention. This was the last one. I thought I had it here that just missed my. I thought I had L2. Maybe I didn't bring. There it is. So L2 just missed the cutoff. L2 is like 25th. It missed the cutoff. It was between this and the other one that's in. So I give it an honorable mention. And Tim will probably talk about it because he talked about it last night too about Gridley.
Yeah.
This is where I killed Gridley off in that adventure all these years ago. So this is number 15 and 16. So that's how long ago we're talking about him having that character Gridley dying off in that adventure. So, but I'll give that an honorable mention. So, if we talk about other starter modules, you'll be surprised. Now, I ran this probably multiple times. When you're a kid, you don't know what you're doing. You run the same thing over and over again.
Well,
But
yeah, you watch movies over and over again when you were
sure,
young. Yeah.
sure, Keep on the Borderlands, and Keep on the Borderlands is my
But
official log number is 106
yeah.
on this. So I started a group up and I wanted a new starting point. I usually put this in the Shieldlands because
Okay,
it was in the borderlands of like IUs and stuff up
that
north,
makes
you
sense.
know, and
Yeah,
that's what I did. Now,
yeah,
I ran Return to the Keep on the Borderlands, the 25th anniversary edition, as number 400
yeah.
because that was
Are there any
Kendall
real
Keep on.
differences in the adventure, or is it
A
just
little
that
bit
additional material?
additional
Okay,
material, but it's
yeah.
basically a lot the same.
Yeah,
But
that's what I remember from reading them. I never played them, but I read them. But Keep of the Borderlands is, along with Hamlet, and maybe even more, because Keep of the Borderlands, Hamlet is a pure Greyhawk thing set in Greyhawk, but Keep of the Borderlands is one of these adventures like Tomb of Horror, something that transcended every setting. It's been everywhere and it's kind of a one of these kind of iconic introductory adventures.
yes, and it's basic edition, and it's got everything you ever wanted. It's got a lot of magic. It's got
Yeah.
that shrine area of all the undead up top in it. That's really
Exactly, and you have
hard.
a dungeon complex and
You can go back. You make
wilderness
forays.
outside, and yeah,
Forays into it. It's got that
yeah,
goofy ogre down there sitting on the shield. You know all that stuff, and it's got a whole
yeah.
base
It also has a
with
bit of a
shops.
sandbox
Yep.
feel to it. So yeah.
Absolutely. So Robodan asked a question. Maybe we all can help him out. I'm running Keep now, almost finished. What should be next? Where are you set in Greyhawk? Or are you set neutrally? Because that will
That's true.
determine.
Yeah, yeah, because I put the Kendall Keep, and it's actually the Keep is not meant named in the original module, if I remember correctly, but in Return to the Keep of the Borderlands, they named it the Kendall Keep, and due to the official, they had recommendations on Wizard of the Coast website back in the early 2000s, and they said that the borders of the southwest part of Yeomanry was the idea to put it. So that's why I put it there, Kendall Keep on my map. And it's not called Keep of the Borderlands because the name of the keep is Kendall Keep in the Return of the Borderlands. So that's why I put the name Kendall Keep.
It's
But you
awesome.
can put it somewhere else and call the keep something else if you want to.
And I didn't.
So yeah,
Me being 38 years in a bubble, did not know that until I was in this community. So
yeah,
I didn't know that until 3 years ago.
yeah.
So Robodan's running it in the yeomanry, and I said
Hmm.
to him, well, the night below is set in the yeomanry, and if your character is coming out third
Right.
level,
Yeah.
there's introductory adventures for that too.
Yeah. Night Below is a good one to move
And
into.
that's
Yeah.
long, and so Night
Hmm.
Below may be one you want to consider
Yeah.
because there is outdoor
And then you have
adventuring.
the D series and stuff are down there with the
Hmm.
Drow and things are down there too. So that's another possibility. I don't know where what level the D series
D starts
starts
at
at.
like eighth.
Okay, so that
The
might be something you
GDs, the
move
GDs,
into
yeah,
afterward you've
yeah,
done some,
yeah.
and then you might
Seventh, eighth.
make one or two little kind of side quests yourself and spice that in a few sessions until they're up to the high levels, and then you can kind of move into the high level stuff. Yeah.
There's a lot of options you can do. It just
Hmm.
depends on like another thing. You're in the yeomanry. All oh, I got one. Chemist, you're going to agree with me. I bet you some other old schoolers are going to agree here. The Sentinel and the Gauntlet, the UK, both those. They're in right in the Sea Princes.
Oh, that's true.
They're
That's another
great.
part. Yeah.
And
Hmm.
they're right on the edge too. And if you
Yep.
notice in
Only a
my
few miles in
discussions,
between.
they
So
they
yeah.
got next from that last row.
Yeah. You
Uh,
can do a little bit of a river journey down the
yeah,
Javan and you're
yeah.
set.
Can
Yeah.
someone give us the numbers for this Sentinel and the Gauntlet? Are the UK4 and UK5? I think there's something like that. I
Yeah.
like them
Hang
both.
on a second. I can
Yeah.
probably find.
B1 and B2 play them together. That's a good idea too, David. Absolutely. Yep.
Where's the B1
B1 is
set?
in Search of the Unknown. I don't think it's placed
Ah,
specifically,
okay. Yeah, so
but you
then
do have to
yeah,
put all the monsters in it in specific locations, but that's okay. I
yeah.
never ran B1 too, B1 as well, and that's why that is not anywhere to be found on my list there. Yeah, no problem, and it's a good question. So it's our hobbies. So it's UK2 and UK3 because
Okay,
Crystal
yeah.
Cave is one. Yeah, okay. So that's a good one. You put in Roddick, David. Makes sense. Roddick's another border area. It's good. All right. So we got through a lot of the earlier ones, lower levels, and talked about Keep on the Borderlands and once again, Tomokan, Tomb of Horrors, Queen of the Demon Red Pits were pre-logging adventures. So yeah, B2's cool. Oh, and UK4 is a neat one too. The UK, I love all the UK ones. So let's hop ahead. We're talking about the UKs. I have a UK one on mine, and it is nasty. And probably when Tim ever hops on, he's going to want to talk about it too. What a nasty! Oh, it's I8, but it's a UK one. It's got the UK. It's a UK one, man. It's got that.
Okay.
See, it's got
Yeah.
the British flag
Oh
on
yeah.
it. Yeah,
Hmm.
and that's
Yeah.
Ravager of Time. Uh, wow. When this came out, and I got it immediately when it came out, and mine's beat to hell, and my only copy's on that wall, and it's falling apart. And this was number 30. I ran. This adventure is nasty, and it is depressing, and it feels like you're never going to get to the end of it. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that in a way as a DM really putting a twist on your players. I don't want to. This is if you don't want to hear spoilers, I apologize. But Nuala, who's on the cover, Nuala rivals Marquesa in vileness. Right?
Uh-huh.
If you want to talk about a character who's just really a vile person and human being or whatever she is, she's just nasty, and she can basically drain your life force down to you have a month left to live, and the copies of your younger selves are created that you have to fight. It is nasty, and it is a great adventure. The British TSR, yeah, had so much influence in D&D. I agree 100%. And White Dwarf magazine started it all, and then you had all the other. Tim's a huge White Dwarf magazine guy with a lot of those adventures, so he may talk about some other UK ones, but this one just was so brutally fun for me to DM. So
Yeah.
I loved it. And have you ever looked at it on this
No,
one?
no, no,
Take a
no.
look at it.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely should. Yeah.
It has a classic at the very end. I won't ruin this. Has one of the most iconic creatures that if you place in a campaign or place in, there's got to be a story behind why this thing is there. And
Okay.
at the very end of it, it happens. It's really a neat tie up to the whole
Yeah. I
series,
like
the
the
whole
the
adventures.
the
It's Graham
cover
Morris
art.
too, who does great stuff.
Hmm.
So definitely, and tie that in with another great cover art of another one, and this is I7 Baldrin's Beacon, another one on my list. So Baltron's Beacon, and I think that is Elmore, isn't it, on the cover? It certainly looks like Larry Elmore to me on the
Oh yeah,
cover of
that's
that
an
one.
Elmore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, Baltron's Beacon is we ran, and I don't know if it's the same group or a different group, but this is number 31. But when we did, now we're at 900. So when we got to 800, which was probably a year or two before we were streaming, um, I ran Baltron's Beacon. I didn't tell them. Changed it a little bit and moved it to the Mist Marsh outside Greyhawk. So that was my surprise for number 800
Oh,
for
so
them.
you moved it from, yeah,
Yeah.
from the Hool marshes
Yes,
down
I
there
ran a
to,
Baldur's
yeah.
Beacon
Hmm.
in the middle of the Mist Marsh out there because
Ah.
that
Yeah.
marsh is so huge.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
ran that as a little surprise for our
Yeah.
800th celebration. Like I said before, we were streaming.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I don't know the background story to this. What was there what's the backstory there?
oh, it's a wizard's location, and the light still comes up, but there's nothing there. It's kind of like a
Uh-huh.
Ghost Tower of Inverness almost. The tower you see
Okay.
in that picture doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
Hmm.
But the light is there from it,
Ah,
and
so you
it's
have
in
to
the
go
middle, and like the lizard men revere it.
hmm.
So yeah, it is. You're like up to your neck in swamp getting there, so it
Yeah.
fits perfectly in the whole marshes. Um, which were the two Ravenlofts? I'm going to get to those because Ravenlofts were the second one is so crazy. But so Baldur's Beacon is, and it's like mid to high. I think it's levels 5 to 10, which is weird. Um, so it is another interesting adventure. I highly recommend. This one has such a feel to it as
Hmm.
a just a cool Greyhawk module. It does. So I highly recommend. I highly recommend both I8 and I7. And they both made my wall. And like I said, we're still in the 30s of my gaming career and my campaign.
Yeah.
Um, so 30s Ravager of Time. Here we go for the iconicness. 31 is Baltron speaking. Let's start a new group of firsts. 32. Where? Finally get to Hamlet. So 32 is Village of Hamlet.
Oh yeah, now we get to the
Yes, yes. So now I believe I had run Hamlet pre for the old group, but I really went into it on this one. So my idea on this was I think I had two different groups playing, and I'm going to run them simultaneously in Hamlet and adventure number 38, which is coming up. So this is 32. Then I got to get them up a little bit in levels to get them to 38 to Nulb and starting TEE. Right? Here, I'm supposed to put this over here while the others scroll. Duh. All right. So 32 is this, and 38 is the first running of the Temple of Elemental Evil. Okay. So I have two different groups, and they're playing different days of the week. And there's no people playing in the same groups.
And that's supposed to happen at the same time?
They're both foraying in, yes, they're both foraying in at Hamlet, doing different things.
That is tricky. Because do you like cut if they're getting into the territory of the other, do you cut and say, okay, now we can't move any longer this session? How do you handle stuff like that?
Back then, I think I just improvised and came up with a different encounter, or maybe banditry or something. I really, but they were like vying for the same.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times, run opposite doing it. And then I simply say, well, now I have to stop because I couldn't run. I had a time frame, like we could run this day or up until something. And then I had to wait and keep track of where each group were at the certain time in the campaign, so to speak. So I couldn't run one faster than the other, so to speak. So sometimes the sessions went long or short, so depending on it. But it could be a lot of fun, especially if you have like the two chasing a goal. One can only get it, the other one can't, and stuff like that. So yeah.
Sorry to hear you have a family emergency, Big Elf. Hope you're okay. Hopefully everything is okay. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on and hanging. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, it was a real challenge, and people in each of the two groups didn't like each other. This is in that era where I have Marco with his friends from high school, and Marco's younger than the others. And I said, Mark, you got to play with this group. So this is the era of Andre Winchester in one group, Elaine Winchester in the other group for NPCs, and then eventually they still dislike each other to this day, and they're both paladins. So it's kind of it's. Thank you, Cribson, for that. Appreciate it. That is during this era of having that kind of fun, this is also the era of a lot of me really going gangbusters on loving to kill off some characters for some annoying players. And I remember one of another bill. There's so many bills. This is not any of the bills that you know. He had a gnome illusionist thief and a roper. He got entangled in a roper tendril, came in, and we had crits back then too. We had the Roger Moore, the original criticals, and just 5 to 30 or 5 to 20, whatever a roper bite is, and a critical hit with triple, and did like 58 points of damage to him, and he had like 20, and he got eaten. So we had actually a character eaten alive by a roper once.
Ooh,
kind of fun.
That's one of these kind of nasty monsters that you can have a lot of fun with.
Nasty monster.
Yeah,
so
really nasty. I haven't used the roper in forever, but they are nasty. They're kind of one of the iconic cool things, like mimics and beholders and whatnot. Yeah.
Them and like shambling mounts, all sorts of other great stuff. I mean,
that was one of the best things I ever saw at Gen Con, when I was standing in a booth and worked at Gen Con, and all of a sudden I see this weird thing coming in. It's a guy, he dressed up as a shambling mound. He looked fantastic.
Yeah, and that's the great thing, is that there's so many. The basis of the game is Lord of the Rings. Is the Lord of the Rings setting, and we even discovered 7 tribes of dwarves, and there's 7 dwarven rings of power, and the light bulb just went off last week.
Yeah, meaning there are some associations there that goes back a long time. Yep.
But there's a lot of iconic monsters that have nothing to do
Hmm.
with Lord of the Rings, and
Oh yeah,
ropers and shambling mounds are,
yeah. And
owlbears,
beholders are kind of awesome in a
beholders.
way.
Oh man,
Yeah,
there's Zorns. There's all sorts of great things
yeah.
that
Hmm. Yeah.
came out of the
And
minds of
Drow. Drow
Drow
is
too.
an iconic, awesome monster that was not in
Well,
the
Ed Greenwood
Tolkien.
said last week that Drow were taken from Norse mythology.
Yes. Oh, yeah. In a
You
way.
know,
Yeah.
but in a
Hmm.
way, but the
But
one
so are
taken,
elves. Elves
yeah,
are too. So,
true.
but and Tolkien made his spin, and then Gary made his
Yep.
spin on
What's up,
Drow. So
Patrick?
yeah,
Good to see you. So, Temple of Elemental Evil is number 38. Now,
yeah,
I was not in the habit of running sidebars.
yeah.
So, and now I did not bring it up here because I'm not going to torture myself, but I probably will. We get to fast forward, I don't know how many years, 30, to number 660. I decide to run a return to Hamlet and Temple that has nothing to do with the Return to Temple of Elemental Evil module that's published. So, Village of Hamlet ran number 32, and 660, 661, and 662, 664, 665, 666, with all these other sidebar adventures, with all different ones that I've created, knowing now what it takes to start here at Hamlet, build up to Nulb, build up to something else, build up and outside the Nulb story, go into the temple. The temple at that time was numbers, was a lot of different numbers of
Hmm.
adventures because now I know how to do that after all those years. So, what was 666? 666 was the last of the Return of the Village of Hamlets I ran. Yeah, that was the last one, and I don't know if they killed Lareth during that one or not. They probably did. That was probably they finally met up with Lareth the Beautiful and killed him. So they don't kill him in the first or second adventure. You build, you use that build up. You
Hmm.
don't ruin a good NPC villain, right? You
No,
save him.
some of the tricks is first you introduce him or her or it, whatever the NPC or monster, whatever it is. You introduce it so early that the characters can't defeat it, so to speak, when it's really powerful. And then you can come in and taunt. You can kind of
Yeah.
almost kill off the entire party, and the monster could just come in, and the NPC could come in just to wreck things and just to taunt them and say you don't have a chance, you should screw up, go home, and just laugh them off and go away, so to speak. And so that way you can get the players to be like, oh, we want to nail this thing and we want to kill it and get angry at it and so on. And then you can try and do a sort of a run drive-by attack, so to speak, and just come by, cast a few spells, do something, and then just disappear, so to speak. We do an ambush and then disappear somehow, so to speak. And then and then maybe if it you can do that. If you can do that in two different ways, then you can have two more encounters, and then you have the final when they meet up, and the players need to characters need to go and find it, and then you use it as a boss and you kill it off at the end, so to speak, and have a full meeting. That way you can make use of, but the thing is to not make it seem constructed. It needs to fit in the narrative, and it needs to be varied, so to speak. But if
And,
you put a lot of effort into making good NPCs and monsters, try and reuse them, so to speak.
well, you all saw that last night.
Yeah. Hmm.
I was like Tim was about to attack Holly, and Holly was just there toying with him,
Yeah.
and the reason I put through her in last night because Mike, I wanted Mike to feel the dread because he did that
Yeah.
paint
Hmm.
job, and it
Yeah.
was the perfect
And
time,
oh,
and
and you put props in and stuff like that. That's awesome. You don't even
yeah.
have to show the monster or the NPC more than once. You can kind of hint to it and stuff. And yeah.
So Canadian, I did. I'll go back to it. Shokanth was number 8. And yeah, that was the first one of the listed numbers that I started. So Shokanth was the first one of these published 24 modules in my numbers that I logged, and that was number 8. And Walt and I went to a guy's house named, I forget Dave's last name, but he was a reseller and he had it. It had just come out, and I ate that up. Plus, because of the appendix, I ate that thing up. And Carlos's idea for Heart in the Holes was because of that appendix in Shokanth. So
Hmm.
yeah, love that. Now we haven't talked about the prelude, the sequel to that. yet. Um, and I could have sworn I
Yeah,
had
but
it written
again,
down here.
yeah, but again,
There.
Hamlet, yeah, I
Yeah.
can recommend. It's a fantastic little sandbox.
Yep.
It's yeah.
Absolutely. Hamlet is fantastic, and I was happy John started his campaign, his Blue Box
Hmm.
campaign in
I mean, it was
Hamlet.
so fun to watch that and see Ostler, the innkeeper,
Yeah, a
and stuff
lot
like
of
that. It
years
was like,
older.
yes, it was like
Yep.
coming home again after 30 some years. Yeah,
Yep. Absolutely.
I'm very,
So as we
yeah,
keep on going down this list of most of these being in the first 118 that I ran, um, we get to now. I'm going to jump past one. I'm going to jump past number 40, and I'm going to go to number 45 because we just discussed it. I never knew that this was a sequel to Shokanth until I was told that, but
yeah,
it kind of made sense. So Forgotten, and this is the one. Did you ever notice every other module? Most of them have two covers, but this one has this really bizarre-looking cover that was never changed.
yeah. Hmm.
So, and I could never figure that out why, but it was. It's complete. It looks completely different than almost all the other modules that were written at the time. I don't know if they have a
Yeah,
different publisher on
but
this
it's
one.
yeah, but no, but it to me
The
the whole
typeset's
I
different.
never played it. I've
Yeah.
read through it, and to me it's one of these kind of mysterious kind of things that meaning the dungeon is minuscule. It's just a few rooms and it's just to be mysterious and weird. So it kind of makes sense in a lot of ways, so to speak. And yeah, and I skimmed through it because I was like I was trying to look for locations and there was not that many locations in it, so I haven't studied it, but it's kind of yeah.
So the iconic things in this. There are Norkers in here, which is cool.
Yep. Hmm.
You're in that fight. If you come in the main entrance and there's Norkers all over the place, and then down the hall comes a mountain giant. And if you've seen the mountain giant stats in Monster Manual 2, you're like, I don't want to get hit I don't want to get hit for 4 to 40 points of damage. So there's a mountain giant in it. There's also some neat puzzles and the trees that you pull the fruits off of, which are really can devastate a character permanently if you fail a system shock. But the rewards are pretty high if you pull the right one and you do the right thing. But it is a bizarre adventure, but it is very Lovecraftian. That's Steve. It's a great point. And here's something that Carlos said he did. And Carlos wasn't feeling well yesterday, and I did say, "Hey, you want to come on tonight?" But he wasn't sure, and I'm not sure how he's feeling, but he was feeling not feeling too well yesterday. He said, "Run Tharsden as the prequel to Shokanth. Switch them. There's no reason why you can't, and that kind of makes sense the way the levels work. So if it ever happens in the future, or if you haven't run them yet, consider looking at Tharsden first and run that, and then run because once again, it's a weird levels 5 to 10 on this one,
Hmm.
and then run Shokanth second. So this is number 45 that I ran that. So on the wall, the next two are linked, but they're not, makes it even more bizarre. And I could still to this day don't know what they were going at with the second one, but this is the Hickmans. So number
Okay.
40 is Ravenloft.
Ah, yeah.
Tracy, yes. So
Mhm.
this is a wonderful, wonderful module that I put in Greyhawk, and it just
So how did you integrate it? You didn't take the characters using that painful rain, and transported them away
no,
from
but I
Greyhawk, or
used the
how did you?
Rene
Yeah,
instead of gypsies, right?
there you go. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
had it set off, and I believe we put it on the Keelan Grand March border, so I didn't have to say which country it was in. It was in that border
Yeah.
area,
Well, you
and
can make him a noble in Greyhawk and run it as a part of the
yeah,
country, so a part of the setting. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
So it was a fantastic adventure, and there's so many vampires
Yeah.
and so many
I,
undead in this thing.
Yeah, yeah. I used Ravenloft as an inspiration when I ran Black Splinter and the vampire necromancer vampire Prince Ferdinand in my Real Devon campaign. I used Ravenloft inspiration for that.
Perfect.
Yep. Hmm.
So I'm gonna tell a quick story, and this is too bad Walt's not on. So there was a D&D store, and if anyone's from Jersey, it was in North Wildwood. And they had, this is like the 80s, so you get these, you get the free spirits that are left over from the late 60s, early 70s running these D&D shops.
Yeah.
So I go in there and I talk to her and I forget her name. And I said, "Oh, did you get that Ravenloft module? That was so fantastic." And no, it's a castle, right?
Hmm.
So she goes to me, this is, well, yeah, but it was too hard. So the group just decided to leave Strahd in there, and they burned Ravenloft down. I'm like, how the hell do you burn a castle down?
Well, yeah, you can
Uh,
burn down the roof and
What's
some
it
of the
going to do to a
floors. And
vampire? Yeah, so they burned it
exactly,
down. I
yeah.
was like,
You have to burn his coffin with him in it, maybe.
exactly.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, what the hell are you? I'm
yeah,
like, this is what adults. She's an
yeah,
adult. I was like, it didn't make
yeah.
any sense to me.
I,
But that,
I did that kind of funny in one of the adventures. I had a vampire back, and the characters they put a stake through him, and then they burned the coffin. So I had him coming back as a ghost to
there you
haunt them,
go.
and that was kind of, yeah, that was my revenge, and it was kind of funny. They were like, no, and they were the wail, and then it's coming after them. So that was kind of, yeah.
There's always ways to bring things back, isn't
Yeah, I
there?
could. Yeah, that was so cool
All
when
right,
they. Yeah,
here
so
comes a
the
bust. R.A. Salvatore knows how to do it better than anyone, right? No one's ever
yeah.
dead permanently. So just
Hmm.
trust me.
Yep.
You
Yep.
can bring back
Meaning that they are
anyone.
created. You can, if it was too easy to kill the vampire, you can do it like that. So I thought it was too easy to kill the vampire, so I made him into a ghost afterwards. He wanted to come back and revenge his second killing, so to speak.
Yeah, Rich, exactly. It was very comical. I'm like, aren't they made so that you can't just like throw catapults of stuff with pitch on them and all? They're not going to burn
Well,
down stone. It was
yeah,
just weird. So,
yeah. You have
uh,
to keep enough of nasty things
hey,
outside the
Brian,
castle as well. So yeah.
Brian Sublime, good to see you on, man.
Yep.
So, no, tie that in with the next one. And it's up now. I don't know what to think of it to this day, but this is Ravenloft 2, the house on Griffin Hill.
Oh.
It's a rare module, first off. Very
Uh-huh.
rare. Two, it is Jekyll and Hyde meets Strahd. Okay?
Okay.
So there's this thing called the machine. There's a machine in there that he separates himself into two entities. One's a vampire and one's his normal self. So, and I'm thinking to myself, this doesn't have much to do with the Ravenloft one, even though it's the same guy. It's
Yeah.
like alternate world. I never got. I love the cover art. First off, it's beautiful,
Oh
and the
yeah.
story. This is the first. Oh, by the way, Azalin is in this too. A lot of people don't know that Azalin the Lich is actually in this module as well. So, first time I ever saw him in anything
Yeah.
published.
That must be a Clyde Caldwell
It's the
drawing, I
Hickmans
think.
again
And
who wrote this.
yeah, but I think
Yeah.
that the cover art, I think, is
Okay,
Clyde
it's Clyde
Caldwell. It
Caldwell.
looks like his way of drawing
Very cool. The Masters module were
half nude
revolutionary. Yep.
nude women. It was kind of his hallmark. Yeah.
So, chemist asked you what inspired your mapping journey. Was there a module that inspired it, or was
Well,
it?
me starting with my maps.
Yeah, he asked that question.
And yeah, it was actually all the details that
Cool.
were in the
Okay.
modules, meaning there were so many things mentioned and they were not on the map. It was meaning that the Darlene map is beautiful. The problem is that the detail level is maybe one thing every 30 miles. And when I've run through and read the Hamlet, I realized that the Hamlet is not even on the map and all the other stuff. So I started to sketch out all the stuff that I read in modules and in the source books, and I just use pencils and colored pencils, and that's how I started making the maps. And then when computers came around, I just kept doing it and started using better and better tools to do it. But I just wanted all the details that were in the modules. I wanted, and the other source books, and I wanted that on the map, so I
Hmm.
didn't have to read where things were. I can actually see it on the maps and then plan out and then look to it. So, and then I kind of abandon the modules, and I basically I read through the modules to put things on the map and in my campaigns, but I never used the modules as intended. I just used them as inspiration. So because I run homebrew everything, so to speak,
Yep.
my entire campaigns.
So this thing you need a deck of cards to play this one.
Okay.
There's a this was the toughest module that I ever had to run because there's a whole list of the entire town here in the Griffin Hill area. You take cards and you link a baddie. There's a whole list of baddies, a whole list of people in town, and
Oh, so you use them
52.
to draw from a random
To
table kind of
see
thing? Or?
when the evil power or a ghoul or a mummy or whatever goes into this person and takes them over because of the machine. So when they got to the end, Azalin the Lich was about to enter and it was random. Azalin, you had to keep track of it all before the adventure starts. You got to map this all out. Azalin the Lich was about to take the mayor over at that point, and that would have been end game, and they just finished it then. But it was a rough module to DM. It was really tough, but it was really a challenge. So
what are the pitfalls? Meaning you are one of the most experienced DM, especially at taking modules and then put them into your campaign. What are any hallmarks of what makes a good module written? Any kind of general guidelines for how you want a module written, so to speak?
Well, this one was and my guess is this did not go over too well in sales, and that's why it's so hard to find. And they're like, this is
They've
not.
never did a second printing or
It
anything.
has nothing to do with the original Ravenloft, and I think they're like, this was a miss.
Oh, they labeled it wrong, so to speak.
Yeah, I they should have called it something else. They even because it is really if you get a hold of it or you download it or whatever, yeah. That is a tough one, and I bet you though in good condition that goes for $100 easy, that module now. But management of this is too much for a DM to have 52 cards to manage all of them, where they're going to end up, and on what time. Taroka, okay, yeah, because my memory is a little faint on that name there, but we're only at number 51 out of 900 here at that point.
So it's back in ancient history.
Yeah, this is ancient history. So Ravenloft, yes, Mymorph. Ravenloft became its own setting after this. Ravenloft was a demi-plane then.
Oh, that's true.
Right, it's not a demi-plane yet.
Yeah, exactly. The original adventure sold so damn well, was so popular that they made it into its own setting after that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's too many moving parts in it, but you can always scale it down. But I don't do that. I do it. It was as written. All right, so the next one. This one, if you have the R series of modules for this, the Falk series of modules that this one was made out of, you are a rich person, especially if they're signed. And that is Egg of the Phoenix. And those Heidel R1, R2s, and those multicolored ones.
I don't have the
RPGA ones.
Signed one. I have a generic one, so to speak.
There are hundreds and hundreds of maybe even thousands of dollars now. Egg of the Phoenix I-12. I ran it one time. Talking about a demi-plane, there's an entire demi-plane on this one.
This is not set in Greyhawk.
This is not. This is Frank Menser and Janelle Jacquays wrote this. So this one is another tough one. And Alan always complains about he lost. Now, his uniquely named character, Aragorn, got permanently killed off because at the very end, the plane of Sepulchre, it's a demi-plane, dissolves, and if you have to jump off of it basically, and if you fail, you're dead permanently. You go with it, and so two of the characters did not make it, and he had one of them. But this goes back in time, so there are dinosaurs in it. There are pterodactyls flying around because you go back thousands of years. You go back in time, thousands of years. At one point, it's a very long convoluted story that's in it's an RPG tournament module that got converted. This is also very, very rare. Mine is a beat up copy, but another one that's almost impossible to find nowadays, but it was cool to run at one time. The momentous nature of this, and because it tied into that R series they did, is the reason why I don't think if I'm to bump one of 24, I may bump this one first of the 24 modules up there, or another one I'll discuss. So Yeah. There's not a lot of It's just because you go back to the prehistoric
Yeah,
times.
they're not blue boxosauruses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, um, that is, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting one. So now we're at 54, and now we're going to jump way ahead to 101. Okay,
And
because
now you're talking your sessions, so to
yeah,
speak, your game
adventure
sessions. Yeah.
module numbers. Yeah,
Yep.
we get to a classic, Saltmarsh.
Oh, yep.
Okay, a great entry level, first level.
Yeah, that's up there with Hamlet and Lindor Isles and yeah.
And it's been expanded on in the years, but it's really bare and
Yeah, and
barren to
it's if
start
even the
back
fifth
then.
edition now have gone back to
Yep.
that haunted house and the little village down there.
Yep. Another
Yeah.
really cool module and adventure. And I'm checking my. I'm sorry. I'm just checking to see if Tim's giving me any updates here. Um, but tied us in with U2 and U3. Now U2's not on there. U2 is like the Two Towers movie. Even though the Two Towers movie in Lord of the Rings was good, it's the middle module, and people forget the middle module's a lot. Danger of
Yeah.
Dunwater, so it's not up here. So I may remove one of the two of these because you have this, and then you have
Yeah,
so
that's the interesting another about the rule. What are the rules for changing this, so to speak?
we
I mean,
haven't developed them. We haven't removed any yet, but I don't know if I
okay. I
want to go
was
beyond
thinking,
that. So that's
meaning,
a
could it come a module that is so damn good that you kind of want
very
to
possibly,
put in there?
yes.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
would say
Cool. Yep.
yes. So if we
Yeah.
tie that in now, that was 101, and then this is 112 with the same
Oh, the
group. So
final.
no,
Then.
you have to bump it up with because the final enemy is a little bit higher.
Yeah.
So 3 to 5. So I've told this story before, and the reason that there's one reason why the module is on the up here, and that is the Six Arms Sahagwin Prince story, which I've told a
Oh.
couple times, but I'll tell it again.
Yeah.
So, and this is with Marco's friend from high school, Wayne, who hasn't played in 25 years, but Wayne had a habit of knowing what was coming up in the adventures. Also, with all his characters having elixirs of life on, if you know that from Arcana, on the back of his sheet magically. So, we get to the end. They finish the adventure, and they're about to leave, and he blurts out of the blue, but we haven't met the Six-Armed Sahagwin Prince yet.
Yep. Yep.
And so everyone's like, what?
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, all right. So they're going to meet the Six Arms of Hagwin Prince now. And
And
I,
make two of him, most of them too.
well,
Just
I
two.
put
Yeah.
that because this is underwater against Sahagwin, and there's sharks floating around with him. They got
Yeah.
mauled, and 3 characters died permanently in that last encounter after that. And that's the one reason why the final enemy is up on my. I could lose this one. This
Yeah.
or I get the Phoenix, I think would be one of the first ones to go. So that's, oops, yeah. See, this is what you have to. You all know this. All of us as DMs know we have trouble players. So
Oh yeah, we
over the years,
always do for sometimes for non-malicious reasons, so to speak. It's just that you might not be compatible. The way you run the game is not the way that some players like it, and that is not because the players have weird taste. It's simply because I know that because I run campaigns very differently from most DMs. So I know that some players, for very good reasons, don't like my DMing style, and some players love it,
yeah,
and that's it. So yeah, so I've learned over the years now to be more upfront. My campaigns are very sandboxy. Yeah.
which is cool. It's your
Yeah.
style, and it's working for you and
Yeah.
your group. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Right
So
now it works. Yep.
yeah, and that is a great thing.
Yep.
So yeah, sometimes you just gotta laugh.
Yeah, but that's an awesome story. That is such a good story. Yeah.
Now this next one I think is underrated. A lot of people say I'm crazy, but I love it. And number 117, Tomb of the Lizard King.
Oh.
I too.
Yeah.
And I think it's good because I know Brian did Sakatha, a post Sakatha based off of this in his Greyhawk when he was running it.
Yeah.
An undead, a vampiric. It sounds like a bad joke, a bad ironic joke to me with this Thrommel thing, but a vampiric undead, lizard king. I mean, can you get any better than that in this adventure? Yeah. Tejo Manor was played different. I got one from your dad's. Trust me, I do. Tejo Manor, yeah, versus vampire in D&D. Yeah, so Tomb of the Lizard King is great. It's got a nice dragon in it. It's tough, but it makes sense for the Greyhawk setting. It does. It makes perfect sense where it's placed in the whole marshes. It's challenging. You can have a party wipe in it pretty easily, and you got to be careful and you got to have your wits about you. I love vampires. I just love vampires that should be there. So that's why Thrommel Vampire shouldn't exist. And I have people in my court, like Ashur, in my court that Thrommel is a human, his king. So, but this is a good one. If you've never looked at it, I highly recommend it. The Eye series are great. All the Eyes are great adventures. I don't know Mark
But this is
Akers.
not set in Greyhawk natively, right?
Well, it's in the whole marshes now.
Oh, okay, so it
Sakatha's
is okay.
tomb. Yeah, Sakatha.
That's true.
Sakatha
Yeah,
is the Lizard King. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah. Um, but
That's that becoming like that's a lot of stuff that's set down there.
yeah,
Now,
exactly. And that's
the
one of the
Beltran's Beacon,
well, that
the Salt
was
Marsh, and yeah,
and Horror in the Hools, Anna.
exactly. I was just going to say you add to the fame of stuff
Exactly.
down
That
there. So
was
yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
So really a good one. This is another one with only one cover. They never changed the cover on this one.
hmm
Even Showcant has an original cover
yeah.
somewhere. What did it? 1E. We're all 1E so far.
Yeah,
Everything I've
and I
shown is
kind of
1E.
like the that orange bar at the top where you can get the number,
Hmm.
the adventure, and the level, and the TSR number. That was kind of I
Yeah.
like that style when they had that. It was really cool. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to bypass number 118. Hopefully
Oh, we
Tim will
have
be.
Nogoya Joy ask what
They're
Joe
all
asked
1E
what.
so far.
Okay, yeah,
All
that's
1E.
1E. Yep, 1E so far.
Now
Yep,
I'm going to bypass number 118 and number 217 for hopefully for Tim discussion on
yep.
those. All
Thank
right.
you, DM, for telling me where on the map that is because I
Yep.
put it in there 10 years ago and I forgot about
Tomb
it.
of
So yeah,
Sakatha, which is
yep,
it's
yep.
absolutely there.
There we
Like I
go.
said,
Yep.
Brian Sublime was on now. He ran an entire sub campaign based after Sakatha's demise, but Sakatha can't. Brian, if you want to surmise what you did with Sakatha for everyone on there, that would be cool. I choose the 2E adventure upgraded Black Dragon for 2E. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, Mike. It's a great module. It's great. And
Yeah.
if you
And
know what you yeah, good, go
so
ahead.
and I like that yellow little thing going stripe too. That was kind of I like that too. These kind of keep the but that orange bar and I realized it was probably because a lot of game stores just put a whole bunch of stuff in
Mm-hmm.
so that way you can easily find the D&D modules because they had the orange top bar. That was probably the reason, but I might be wrong. But I know that from putting them in a shelf or in a bin or something like that, it was easier to sort them out.
So Brian, yeah. So look, there was a cult that was trying to attempt to resurrect Sakatha in his campaign that he set up, which is really neat.
Yeah.
So, by the way, if you don't know this, and I'm going to show you this again, if you have a cheered of over 1,000 or more in your history here, you have new emotes, okay, and they're set in. So I'm going to put all 7 in an order to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No one has the 7th one yet, but there they are. So I know Canadians got 5 of them, and someone has 6 of them. I'm not sure who it is. I have to check. And you got yes. So you have the Iron Brigade, which is the top mercenary group in Greyhawk. You have the Pathfinders, which we're playing on Thursday. Just House Gistrul, Gazumba's house. House Thronedale, Ashrin's house, and Jasia's house. Sir Harn, who is the champion of Greyhawk, the champion of the county of Ulick, and also Shorewind's character was his squire in Blue Box. The Winchester family crest, and then Vic Strollin, which is Lady Ralta Yolan's house in my campaign. And then I'll have, once the 100,000 one opens up, I will put the 200,000 one in someday, and I think that'll be Lord Page's. I think with a lightning bolt through it. I think I'm going to do that one or something like the Dark Brotherhoods or something like that. So, yep,
Yeah.
very very cool. Awesome. So, hey, but you know what? You have one. That's a cool thing, though. It's more than. So I've been telling all of our associated streamers. I had a big meeting with them yesterday. I was like, get your emotes out, man. You got a whole bunch more emotes, almost double now that you can give to your loyal viewers. So, and that's what's going on there. Yep, Winston sidekick. Campaigns are tied in. All right, we're going to go to 188. Now, in the 100, so we're Tomb of the Lizard King's 117. 118 is momentous, and I'm hoping Tim comes on. If he doesn't, then I will just talk about 117, 118, and
Yeah.
217. 188, not TSR. And Jay better have it here. I know I have it here. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. I know some of you have bought this because I talked about this before. This is by a small company, and they did 3 modules called Underworld Publishing. Harbinger of Darkness. Okay? This is for levels 7 to 9 by Devin Daniel O'Leary. And it says compatible with the most popular role-playing games. It is
That's
like
how you, and now today you write 5e or something
yeah.
instead. And they use instead of orange, but they used the bar, but they made it
I'm
pink.
looking for a year.
In
Yeah, I'm looking to see what year this was made. Because you know where I got this? You're gonna 92. I got this at the Armory in Baltimore when you used to. At that.
That's cool because when we had I was part of a game store in Sweden. We actually imported stuff from the Armory.
The Armory was on Reisterstown Road. So do you remember where the Baltimore riots were? It was right where the Armory was. It was right there.
Because I looked when Google Earth came around and Street View. I looked at the address and now I know which warehouse they used to be in, so to speak.
Yeah, Reisterstown Road, right down there. Whoops. Yeah. I just hit.
I like the cover art on this one.
And they got 2 others. One's called Blade Singer and Sweet Wall of Death. I have all 3 of them, and I never knew about these until I was like, oh, what's these piles in here? And so that's where I got those 3 modules. And then I read this, and I was like, it's got necromancers in it. It's got a dude who looks like the Undertaker. Look, it's
that part of your inspiration to.
It's the Undertaker. From the wrestler. All right, so.
So was that part of your inspiration to create a necromancer class and all that?
I already had a necromancer class.
Oh, okay.
I had a necromancer class in the early 80s, so I was like, this is perfect. So this guy's trying to bring about almost like, I think I had it, he's trying to pull Tharsden back into the world. Right? And it's got really cool monsters and really cool magic items.
So was that part of the adventures actually set in Greyhawk?
No. I put it in Greyhawk.
You added that part of the story.
I put it in Greyhawk. And it has the caduceus snake, which is the snake that bites your inner thigh and heals you, right? Okay. It's got really some cool ideas in here. Yeah. But this is the coolest idea, and we talked about this as well. Thanks, DM. Thank you, Dave, for doing that for Mindmorph. This is the one where the other Bill, the crazy Bill, and I always say, what Bill are you talking about? The No Just No Bill. Right, this guy, the No Just No Bill. All right, him. He had a Arabella Hotforge, a female dwarven fighter who had a dwarven thrower. There's a big pit in one of these where a purple worm comes up. So Arabella has her dwarven thrower and throws it at the purple worm and fumbles. So. Now, anything can happen on a fumble table. Fumbles, weapon breaks. Now, there's a percentage chance it doesn't. It's a +3 weapon with special abilities. I roll 0-0 on and the weapon breaks. Now, Bill is not one who played. This other Bill's not one who played well with others. So his character looks at everyone and does a nosedive and jumps into the pit and just kills herself. So we say, if you ever hear us saying Arabella is still falling in that pit to this day, that's the joke. Yes, so that was the end of Arabella Hotforge. And the irony of it was, at the end of this adventure, there's another dwarven thrower in it with better abilities. Yes, right in there. So yeah. So that's the funny story behind Harbinger of Darkness, but it's a great adventure.
Yeah. But what number on the wall are we on?
188.
Okay.
188. We're on the wall here. Once again, I am holding off on Tim for 118 and 217. Alrighty. First and only second edition module on the wall is number 330. Now we go from 217 we haven't talked about to it. The next one is 337. Okay. And you probably have guessed what this one is. Return of the Eight.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
By Roger
Yeah.
Moore. Now, I'm pissed off at From the Ashes, and you all know why. They kill Otaluke, they kill Tensor, they kill Grimry Fisher. You know, they kill off all these characters. They kill Ren of the Star off. Like, I don't even, you know, we can go on and on and on of all the characters he kills off that I are in my campaign. Then this comes out by Roger Moore, and I'm like, oh, okay. There's a little bit of a something I can do now in the campaign to work him back. So was that where is that character on the cover taking Josh? That's you calling Josh the Dretch there? That's not right, man. If that's what you're saying about that. But so that's Tourney the Merciless in the background, and the Dretch is that Dretch is actually, I believe, that is Tensor, right? If you know the storyline. And Jalarzi gets turned into a male, a crazy male named Jay, which was funny too at the time. My name. And it had some cool monsters in it. Like it has a retriever, and I know one of Bill's characters gets killed by it. And you go to Luna. Really, you know, it's not a fantastic module, but it was momentous in our game. It changed things huge in the campaign, where now stuff is becoming more and more vital for campaign story. You know, as I'm learning how to DM more and more and run a campaign, and this adventure gets Tensor back. Puts in a lot of these unique Tensor items that I've only ever given one out to this day, and I will never give another one out. In particular, Tensor's Boots of the Running Warrior, which is basically the 5e version of 1e, 2e fighting. So Bill's character Marcus can move 100. I think he's got 150-inch movement rate now. He can move 150, like he can move 100 feet, attack, and then move away because of these Boots of the Running Warrior. And if you look at that spell, that's what it does. But that he has them on. And then there's also Tensor's Belt of Giant Strength, which only a mage, I made only a lawful good magic user could wear. So Tim's dad's character Abdul has it. But there's all these really cool, unique magic items in it. So there's all sorts of stuff, Dave, in this one. That there's the lucky coins.
But it's also an adventure that is very into the setting with the circle. The Circle of Eight and all that. It's a lot of the other adventures are some of them are loosely connected, some of them are not, but this one is really part of, and it also comes with the Greyhawk label, so that kind of makes sense. It's labeled officially a Greyhawk adventure.
Notice I don't have any of the other Greyhawk label ones in my Wall of Fame. I'm not a fan of a lot of them.
No, but that's true. But back in the day, like Hamlet is not Greyhawk, and Temple of Elemental Evil is not set, which is weird because then the Greyhawk setting was published, and if there is one or two campaign that is really set, or adventures that are set in Greyhawk, it's Hamlet and Temple of Elemental Evil.
Yeah, well, Tharizdun is Forgotten Temple of Tharizdun is WG4, so technically that's World of Greyhawk 4, right?
Exactly, but and they also officially, but they don't carry the label. That was much later, but I guess they didn't want to limit the sales of the adventures, so they wanted people who were not Greyhawk fanatics to buy them too. I guess.
Probably something like that. I'm not sure what the thought, but I mean,
it's interesting. That's interesting. Which adventures get labeled Greyhawk officially on the cover and which are not.
Right. True. But I don't have Veil the Mage. I can't stand it.
No, I don't like that.
I can't stand
either.
it. I can't stand.
Yep.
Now, was there a WG 1, 2, or 3? I believe there is a WG 1, 2, or 3, and I don't remember what they are. But someone, I should have.
Mountain and stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I agree. The the veil is kind of that's not a good. I like the interesting backstory, but then I want to throw out the content
Yeah,
of
it's
that
terrible.
and yeah
It makes no
make something
sense.
of it. Yeah, because
No.
I really want to make something cool of the veil
Yeah.
and with the backstory, and then dive into and create a campaign of that. That's some because I like to make the challenge of take something that I don't like and turn it into something I do
I should have
like
done that
the
with it.
Card Sergeant destroying the Horn Society. I didn't like it, but now I want to make it as part of my new campaign, so to speak. So
And that
yeah,
is something that we need to look at, and that I should have done better back in the day. But I
okay.
didn't know. You're thinking,
Well, we were young. We were young back
yeah,
then. We were inexperienced.
that's it.
Now we have decades of experience. We've done the mistakes
That is so
over and
true.
over again, often. Yeah,
But I have so few of the actual Great Hawk. Now let's do some caveats here.
yeah.
Slavers,
Hmm.
I think, is one of the three best, reference settings.
Slavers
But they
is a
have
great.
adventures
Yeah.
in it. There's kind of
Yep.
adventures strewn all throughout it. So
Hmm.
if
Yep.
Slavers was a module, it would be up on the wall, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
But it's a great. But
G1W2
that's
apparently
very much
emerged.
part a
Yeah.
setting source
Thank you,
book as
Michael.
much as an
Right,
adventure, so to speak. Yeah.
exactly. So,
Yep.
and a lot of them are like that. Now, City of
Hmm.
Skulls, we never ran it. Didn't fit in my campaign. No one cared about rescuing Homer, so we just didn't. We never even
Yeah,
had any
but
interest
it's
in
yeah,
that.
but it's yeah,
Yeah.
but that one I love the story and stuff, but it's yeah, I wouldn't do it that I did try to do it differently when I did it, but I like the idea for the module is fantastic. Yeah.
So after Return of the Eight, now remember we're missing two that I haven't discussed yet, and that is
Yeah.
two of the and they're non-TSRs. I was hoping Tim would be on, but if not, I'll
Yeah.
give him 10 minutes and then I'm going to discuss them. Rally the
Okay. Yeah.
Trader never ran it Canadian. I tried to, and this is how this story went to try and prep this. Walt has this really arrogant, high level Valley Elf, half Valley Elf female Madge thief named Lena. Actually, Lena and Gazumba had a fling back in the day after Gazumba was a widower, by the way. And then he's like, "Why did I do that? She's crazy." But so because most of Walt's female characters are nuts. So she's a high level mage thief. So she goes to Mordenkainen, and Tensor is back now. This is after Return to D8, and says, I want to petition to join the Circle of Eight. Okay, she's like 15th level mage or something like that. And they sit down and talk and they say, fine, we will consider your petition if you get a group and you go out and you take care of Rari for us. And
Oh.
she
Yeah.
goes, no thanks. And that was that. And that was the end of that. So
Isn't that awesome? You prep the whole adventure and then they say nope.
yeah,
That's it.
no
Yep.
thanks. So I never
Oh
ran.
wow, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you, Walt, for making
Yeah.
giving a good story. Yeah.
So Rari's sitting out there in my campaign. I don't care. I'm just leaving him out there. I don't want him
Yeah,
to
so
become a major
you never
player.
gone back to it
No.
and kind of yeah, okay.
Nope. Larry's a minor blip in the
Mhm.
screen in my
Yeah.
campaign. I don't want him
Well,
to become
he's
a
out there
focal
in Bright
feature.
Desert. You can
Yeah.
let him have his tower out
So
there, and it doesn't
that's why I've
disturb
never
anyone.
run it.
Yeah.
I prepped the opportunity in role play, and it just didn't happen. So, but good point on that one. All right, so you ready for this? We jumped from 337 to
Hang
600.
on a sec. Yeah, we have.
Go
Sorry,
ahead. Sure, go
just
ahead.
we have a good comment in here. Moose says that according to TSR archive, there was no VG 1, 2, or 3 that was published.
They were saved for Zudrak. Michael Zudrak brought them up. They were saved for Temple of Elemental Evil new numbers, and then they
Okay.
switched it. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
got you. So
yeah.
okay, so it was a
Believe.
bureaucracy
Yeah.
cock up. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Hey, good to see you, Gaetano. All right, 634. I've been saving this adventure for the perfect time because I know where it is. I've started my Harby campaign. The Harby Irregulars are my first Harby group. They have their ship, the Vigilant, which they got, and they're out and they're on the west coast and they're in a storm. They look over it during the storm, lightning hits, they see this tower.
Mm-hmm.
After the next lightning bolt strikes, the tower's gone.
Ah, that's a cool way of introducing the Tower of.
That goes Tower of Inverness.
Yes.
Okay, I had not run
Yeah.
it to this point. I think I may have run it for my friends in 7th or 8th grade. I had not run it in my campaign to that point. So at 634, I run Ghost Tower of Inverness finally. cool adventure, dangerous adventure. I got to get Alan Hammock on the show. I really do.
It's one of these that was originally written as a
Competition.
competition, yeah, adventure, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So very cool, and I had waited for the right place and the right time to
Yeah.
get it into my campaign, and it got run, and they did a nice job with it. The soul gems there. You gotta
Yeah.
stop it, and
And that's
you know
something I shoehorned in, or I do
yeah.
with on the with the direction of a bunch of people. I put it on the Wild Coast, so I think I put it in the
Okay.
spot where it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I ran it exactly where it was placed
Hmm.
on your map because at this point, I'm looking at your maps and looking at the maps now, but I'm not involved in the community still. It's 6:34.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what year it is, but I think I'm at my. It's got to be mid to late 2000s at some point. I
Okay.
run
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where we are at number 634.
Yeah.
All right, so there's two left. So, all right, Tim. Well, I'm going to start, and then we'll go back if you're. So these are both third-party adventures. And I've talked about these. One of them is I have the third edition version here, just because it's the green one is on my wall, but that one's second. So back in the day, I've talked about this. Tim would DM, and I would get to play Hawk and Gazumba, and he'd play fencing and Leuven. And usually, maybe Marco would play, or maybe Walt would play here and there, and it was at his house. So I'd be DMing my stuff, and he'd be DMing his stuff. And this adventure was fantastic. And I was like, Tim, I've never heard of this before. Where did this come from? And he goes, I don't know. My dad got this years ago. This is the photocopied version that he let me because we couldn't find another copy. Remember, there's no
Yeah.
eBay back then. There's no internet. Now I have one on my wall now, and that
Yeah.
is the legendary. And for us at least, come on, where is it? Where is it? Here we go. The legendary Fortress Elendar High Fantasy Adventure Series. Okay, so this is not in D&D. I mean, you have to convert this, but it's got a
Oh
good.
yeah. It's what kind of system is it written?
It's a high fantasy adventure series. He did like 4 adventures total and had the rule book.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
the copyright on this is 79. So
Oh
this is
wow. So it's
old.
early.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This is in that old era. It's got a storyline before it, but remember, Anna, this is in the Shieldlands, Fortress Elendar, placed on that border south of White Plume Mountain.
Oh,
It's in
that's
my
true. Yeah.
yes. I
Yeah,
have
and I
placed it.
put it on my campaign map too. So yep.
Yep. So absolutely. So Fortress Elendar, this is on Anna's map in my game, and on Anna's too.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Pinoy archers are in here. There's a
Oh.
bombard in here that if you're not into technology, can make it magical. There are the wonderful magic items. You've all seen the Shield of Prey that I use. That comes from here. Prometheus clay comes from here. Just wonderful, wonderful things. And I have notice I have in here my custom notes are all right in this photocopying module, so I could run this to this day,
Mm-hmm.
and I may do that. And the map, oh, there's half of it of the outside part. See, there's a whole keep. It's neat. It's really neat. I don't want to ruin it because I know the majority of you have not. Hey, Mandy, what's going on? Good to see you.
Yeah.
A lot of you have not know nothing about this, so I'm not ruining this for you. If you can get a hold of this, Prometheus clay allows you to take that and craft the clay into any naturally occurring creature,
Oh.
like a figurine of wondrous power, and it turns into like a bear. Or now Walt would abuse it early on and turn it into a Rumvarax, and I said no more of that. It's a naturally Prometheus wouldn't know what that is. It's a naturally occurring monster. So, Mandy, it's good to see you. I'm glad to see you on. I hear. Are you DMing on Praetor's Rejects channel upcoming? I heard. Is that what I heard? So yes, a bear. Miss Tara was also my group's first campaign. Miss Tara is cool, definitely. So I had to run this in my campaign when Tim ran it for me back in the day, and brought me onto this one. Very cool. Awesome. Um, link in the time for me if you don't mind, Eastern or whatever. Please do that. Oh, thanks, Canadian, for doing that for her. Yes, so wonderful, and it's easy to convert, right? And if you're nice, I may, and you're a hardcore supporter, I may give you some of my notes here that I wrote up when I was, I don't know, 17 when I did that in the back for this. But so that is number 118, Fortress Elendar. Um, and I was happy that Tim shared that with me and ran that with me.
Yeah.
So the last one of the 24 is a top 30 adventure of all time, rated by the group that did that in that Dungeon magazine that Gary Julian was a part of.
Yeah.
Yeti, it's from your father's company. Now the green one is down. I didn't take it off my wall, but I have this version of it, and that's Dark Tower. All right, another one that Tim ran for me as Hawk and Kazumba back in the day, and it is awesome. It is the idea behind this mod, and this is Janelle Jacquays as well. Okay, who wrote this? An awesome adventure. The concept of it is, and Set Sutek, however you want to do it, is the deity, and there's a cult, and you walk into this town, and the entire it's like Cult of the Reptile God on steroids. The entire town is just bad. You go in, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. You see the very top of the tower set, the very little top of like the obelisk. That's it sticking out. You got to go
dig your way into.
You got to go down it. You got to go down 8 levels, or however, I think it's 8. Down 8 levels to the entrance of that, then go up the 8 levels in the tower.
That is cool.
It is.
Cool idea.
It is. Yeah. Yes, it is awesome. It's cool, and it's tough, and it has rules for setting Sons of Set up, and they're all just these mutated things. I got a whole listing of Sons of Set. So, it's another one that Tim ran for me with Hawk and Gazumba, so I got to play it before I DM'd it. And this is number 100, and I'm sorry, 217 is Dark Tower for me, and that just one that I would run again for. Thank you. What? Oh, it's okay. We'll take it. Like I said, we just crossed 3,700. We're on our way to 3,800. I already got it as a February follower goal. Mandy, thank you so very much for the follow. But Dark Tower is now. I've run Thieves of Fortress Batabasker. I've run Walt and Tim both run Teagle Manor. A couple other. I think by far this is the best, hands down, the best Judges Guild ever written. It is wonderful, and get a copy of it. Whatever edition. Like I said, this is the D20 Judges Guild one by Goodman Games. So you probably should be able to get a hold of this. For the three.
If not in print, at least in PDF, it should.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's got so you'll be able to get it. But if you can get a hold of the original one, that's where you want to go if you're an old schooler. So it's any basic D&D mods. So no. I liked Veiled Society. I liked Lost City. I like the one with Castle Caldwell. Is that it? It's like B12 or 11.
Okay.
But I did when we this is gonna sound stupid. With the exception of Keep on the Borderlands, we never really realized Keep on the Borderlands was basic. Because we always thought it goes right in the AD&D.
It is. Yeah, it is basic. Yeah.
So the Expert series came out, like Castle Amber and stuff, and I'm like, well, that's Expert. I'm not going to run that, So that's why I stayed away. Castle Caldwell and Beyond. Yeah, that's it. I stayed away from them because we're running the advanced ones.
But they're not that difficult to convert. So, it
was just a silly thing.
Yeah.
Should we get Egg of the Phoenix physical copy? Troy, I don't know, man. I don't know if you're going to be able to get one. That's not under $100. So it's wow. It is epic, but
now I have to see because I know I have it.
You somewhere. That's a tough. That and Ravenloft 2 are the two toughest I think I've shared here to get in physical copy.
Wow, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I have to.
38 is it? If 38's a great buy, unless it's in really terrible condition. So I would, Troy, I would, if you got the money and you can afford to do it, I would do it for that. So let's share. I want to share with you now, and please, if you have some other, yeah, you can get it as a download. Go for it. Go for just to have it, you know. So let's talk about some that are not on the Wall of Fame that I recommend. How about that? I got them here.
I can't find it. It's one of my shelves that I put far away because it's not Greyhawk. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
So here's some that are not on the Wall of Fame that I would recommend, and let's go ode to our good departed friend first. All right,
Yep.
and that's Deep Dwarven Delve. Well,
Ooh,
another difficult one.
L3.
That you can get it in reprint, but if you don't have the Silver Anniversary box set, you're not going to get an original, right? And that's the only place it comes, and that's the 25th Anniversary Silver Edition box set. Someone did, Josh? Did you just? Someone spent $200 on one recently. Was that you, Josh Zarathon? All right, there's my original. Now we all know that the ending is completely rewritten and Len hates it, right? But that doesn't
Yeah,
mean you can't
I have
fix it.
lens here.
Oh, it's not so. Oh.
Yeah, this is Len's personal copy.
So what I
So
did was I was like,
yeah,
I photocopied this very carefully, page by page, and used that off the notes for my Deep
yeah,
Dwarven Delve copy. So and that's L3.
yeah,
If you get a hold of this, run it. Run it in Ode to Len because it's just officially
yeah,
last published module, right? Of the three. So
yeah. It's
you
a
know he
little
had
bit
some in
water
he had
damage on
his
the top
in
here
Dragon's
in
Foot.
here, but
That's
it's
okay.
actually Len's own copy. Yep,
Nice. So
yep,
that's one I recommend.
yep. Cool.
Okay. All right.
Well, I love the cover art on this one. Is fantastic.
Oh, it is. It's
Yep.
fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
This one is also in the 25th anniversary box set. Yeah, it is. The Silver Anniversary box set edition, and I kill myself to this day. You know how it's like buying stocks. There was, if you ever know the chain Allied Hobbies, it was in the Northeast. So I went into an Allied Hobbies right before they closed, and they had 3 Silver Anniversary Edition box sets on clearance for half price for $12.50
And
each,
you didn't
and
buy all
sealed.
three?
I didn't buy any of them. I was like, because I was in my like early, I don't know how old I
Yeah,
was then,
I did that
92.
mistake too back in the day.
I
There
was
were probably a bunch of
25.
stuff I should have bought that I
Yeah.
didn't. Yeah.
I was 25 years old at the time, and I had one copy. I was like, I don't need these. I should have kept them sealed. All right, Return to White Plume Mountain. Why? Well, I like this better than the original White Plume Mountain. I love the whole story concept behind it. Some people will disagree with me, but I like this one. This one didn't make the cut on our Wall of Fame, but it's a good. It's and it's Bruce Cordell, so you're getting a quality writing on this.
Yeah.
Now, I have never run Return to Against the Giants, but that was written by Sean Reynolds, and we talked about that when Sean was on with Bruce. So that one I may recommend as well. But
Yeah.
this one I recommend.
Yeah, I'm
I am
going to read
Correctus.
through that and use that inspiration for my Shield Lens campaign because sooner or later we're going to go to that mountain. So yeah. Oh, and we have a
Okay,
question
Tanner,
here.
did you work at the one in in Philly off of Cotman Ave? Is that the one you worked at? Oh, if you did, I was in there multiple times. I may have seen you in there.
Yeah. And we have if Len ever had the ending for the DDD.
Deep Dwarven
Uh,
Delve.
Len's
Len
real
told us
and
what the ending was, and it got
yeah,
changed. So
yeah.
you'd have to
It
dig it
should
up.
be,
And
yeah, it's in one of the previous shows
yeah,
when we
yeah.
talked about it somewhere. So yeah, go on YouTube and we can find
So,
it. Yeah.
Catano, I was manager at the EB at that same mall, that outdoor mall, for about 2 months back in the early 90s. So we may have crossed paths there, didn't even know it because I worked at that
Wow,
electronics boutique right where you worked at the Allied Hobbies. So there you go. Small
that's
world,
cool.
Catano. Real
Yeah.
small world. I was in that Allied Hobbies multiple times. That's funny. All right, so another one I would recommend. And so I know Lustrion Greg has run this just recently. And here's the real shame about this company. Sword and Sorcery Necromancer Games put out unbelievable stuff in 3rd edition. The problem is that they had downloadable content that you wanted to get in addition to it.
Oh, and
So
that's not available anymore?
the downloads are gone. So, but look,
Damn.
here is all the downloadable content for Tomb of Abbotsford. All right. And it is a very, right?
Yeah, because Forge
Yes.
Associate, they did a lot of awesome content back
I
in the day.
have
Were
every
they
single,
bought up by someone
yeah,
or
well, Frog God owns the rights to their stuff now.
okay. Yeah.
All right. So Bill Webb. This one is by, I believe Bill Webb wrote this.
Okay.
By Clark Peterson and Bill Webb.
Mhm.
Wrote Abbotsford.
Yeah.
It's got a Rapparathic feel to it, if you know which one I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Brandon
Oh
and
yeah.
Beaumarge and Foothills Breakers. Cool.
And
Nah,
Natural
see you, man.
good night. Yeah,
Thanks, Tim.
good night.
30 months, good to see you. I'm glad you.
Yeah.
Anytime you can hop on there, Tim. But it's got I believe Coatelans in it. Uh,
Hmm.
References Blipple Pool. It's got some cool magic items. I know one of Bill's
Yeah.
characters still
Fits right
uses.
into Greyhawk then.
Yes. There's the Star of Terror, I believe, is an item in here, and one of Bill's characters to this day uses the magic item she got in this module. And notice I don't
Yeah.
care. I mean, I just shoved all the downloadable content. Every one of Necromancer's games had this downloadable content, dozens and dozens of pages,
Yeah.
and the script in this is small too. So
Oh, so the content is not available in the module
there's extra
itself?
content. There's
Oh,
extra
okay. Yeah.
content for every one
Mhm.
of their modules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope they should be able to see if they can dig it up and then publish it again somehow. That will be awesome.
Yeah, I hope so. I
Yeah.
hope so. Now you have, and one of the last, another one I want to discuss. I just ran, right? I just ran this, and it
Mhm.
finally, after all these years, it fit. And I said for years and years, I need to run this. And in fact, in in number 8, in Gabbin number 8, I think Steve brought it to my attention, chemist. I say I need to run against the Call of the Reptile God someday, and I just did it. I just finished it, and this is
Yeah,
my
a
beat
few
up
weeks
copy.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was adventure number 894. A lot of you know this is a classic. I think this is David
Mhm.
Leonard's favorite module of all time.
Well,
So
yeah, it is like a Hamlet
yeah,
style or
uh,
sandboxy style. You come to a little village and then you interact with various people in it and stuff.
yes.
So
So a great one, and what I did was I found there's downloadable all the maps in here. I found someone had printed them all out, and I went to Staples and I got them. I was figuring out how am I going to do this on my table, and I got them all and I laid them all out and worked it that way, and it worked pretty
yeah,
well.
because you set up Orlane or
The whole
Lorraine, as you
town,
called it. Yeah, the whole town. That was
Lorraine,
awesome,
yes,
and it was so cool because I saw the pictures or saw this your stream, and I instantly recognized that's the town. That's the town
thank
from
you.
the module. That was so cool.
So far I've done Hamlet in its entirety, Orlane / Lorraine in its entirety, and the one corner of Narwhal, where the Narwhal Headhunters headquarters is in its in its area, plus full streets in Greyhawk City on my back, plus the entire downtown area of Altamira. Right, so I've done a lot of cities on there, but Orlane and Hamlet fit. It's 95% of Orlane fit. All of Hamlet I got onto the table. So, all right, the next two are hardbacks. Hardbacks are tough for me to put up because I want to put the module in, but I'm rethinking because this one, and this is our Necromancer Games one, and this one spans. Are you ready? Adventures 693, 95, 97, 98, 702, 706, 8, 10, 16, 17, 34, and 51.
Oh wow.
Okay. We did this over the course of 2 years.
Hmm.
And that is, and you used to be able to get this for like $5 for 50% off. I don't know how much it is now. And that is Trouble at Durbanford. Okay. This one is, anyone have this? And
No,
anyone
yeah, I
tried running this? All right. So I placed Durbanford in hey, what's up, Daka? Let's see what's WG W7. I showed WG7 before you were on.
yep. Hmm.
I did because Canadian
Yeah,
got it
we
for me as
already
a print. You
yep.
missed it. All right. So it's once again it's one of those third edition feel rules, first edition feel.
Yep.
So the Omega Patrol group, which the worst named group we have in existence, I ran my return to the Temple of Elemental Evil and Hamlet with them, and I immediately threw them into another mega thing, which was probably a mistake. Trouble at Durbanford. I put Durbanford in the Grand March, and there are so many subplots in here, but there's a main storyline. If you can get a hold of this, I guess you want to start this out. I think in level 6 is the lowest you want to start this, and run it up to 10th. This is pretty cool, and once again it has that D20 logo on it. So I'm considering putting this on the Wall of Fame somehow. I like it so much, and look at the size of this thing. Plus, I had downloadable content too. So this is
It's like 160.
222 pages.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's set into chapters, and there's so many different subquests. There's a drug called Higdine in here. Once again, no, they're not Bloodwild. There will be one on my wall soon, though.
Yeah, I was just going to say soon there will be. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember this. It has to be run in my campaign, and I haven't run any of Carlos's other than the 3 he made for me in my campaign officially. It won't, Josh. If I run it, it will. But all right, so Durbanford, give it a look. Back to Crazy Walt. His one of his characters was corrupted in here and went from neutral good to chaotic neutral, and is still chaotic neutral from this adventure. But great plot line with it. So that's the one I consider. Along with this is the reprint, and I showed it a little earlier. And I just love what Eric Mona and James Jacobs and Jason Bullman did with this.
That's a great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so much interesting setting information and stuff in that book too. So even if you don't run it as an adventure, it's an interesting read, and it's a worthy. Sorry.
I'm saying to the audience, run this. This is post Living Greyhawk.
Yep.
And it ties up loose ends, and it does. Rigby has passed. The funeral procession. There's Iusians in here throughout. There's you meet Morning Canaan.
Yeah.
There's the characters.
The only thing I don't. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No.
I was saying the only thing I don't like in that module is that somehow drills a 300-mile-long tunnel under to get into the castle, and
but you can.
You can say that they travel overland or something instead.
Tim's stuck somewhere. I don't know if it's because of the snow or whatever. So, oh well. I'm glad I went forward then. All right. So, but note this. This is a typical be a hero kind of adventure, with it's filled with sidebar plot stories. It kind of reminds me of running a computer game adventure, an RPG, where you don't have to do them all, but there's like 15 or 20 of little different sidebars.
And it's the taking the I would say the definitive taking of the Castle Greyhawk so far, so to speak. It's the
note that Kellic is in here, who's also in Age of Worms. He's in here. He's got his own tower in the river quarter. There's a building, the Perthan Estate, that your group can get as a base in the river quarters. The only problem is this. The river quarter is mixed up from the Free City Greyhawk box set. So I had to do a lot of cross-referencing throughout there and figure out like where the the river rats are, the whole thing, the Silver Garter, all of them. I had to move them out and figure out which is in which building. But so recommended. All right, well, Mike, thanks for that information. Good. What plaything do you have to offer? What an obscure body in this case. So Josh is on a roll there with quotes. Here, Josh, I want to make you feel better. Look, woo, there you go. Now you feel better. Okay. So I think I talked about all of them that I wanted to discuss, and throw out. Why don't you? We can run a little late. Why don't you throw out there some? And I know everyone says I should run Isle of Dread. That's a huge commitment. Months. Right?
Oh yeah, if you want to run the whole the whole adventure path, name
Savage Tide.
Exactly, Savage Tide. If you want to run the whole adventure path, then that's like, what is it, 12 adventures or something? I think it was one for each month, 10 or 12 or something. So it's each a huge undertaking.
Yeah. But Isle of Dread's is a supplement to that, right? It's not. It's not.
Yeah, I think they end
Yeah,
up in the or something because I never ran
yeah,
the whole thing. So yeah, I played in one of my friends ran the first bit, but then we got sidetracked somewhere else and it didn't finish. So
yeah. And so I don't. You know how I am with I project out what we're doing, and my guys are it's short attention span theater, right? So that's why you see with Durbanford, or closer example, the Trials of the Legion. I just finished that. I started that last year before Gary Con, did the
yeah,
first 4 parts, and then didn't get back to it till 3 weeks ago, and finished it up because that's just you gotta go to how your group plays, and I know, and like so for me to run Isle of Dread could really drag on, and I don't want that to happen. So I don't know if you'll see me playing Isle of Dread anytime soon. That doesn't mean that there's other adventures out there. I have a lot of published modules that I'm looking at running
mhm.
that I still have not done. I mean, I never did. What's uh, Temple of the Frog. Oh gosh, the I1 or I2. The one with the big frog on the cover. My
A
brain
big
just
puppet.
shut off.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I never ran that. Just flying.
That seems to me that image seems to be must be the inspiration for the frog emote,
It
doesn't
very
it?
possibly could. But
Yeah,
my
it
my
looks a
uh
bit
my
like it.
guys aren't interested in spell jamming or going to Dark Sun or any of that. And once in a blue moon, I threw them into Ravenloft because it was just something cool to do. And I think I've burnt that out too.
Yeah,
My guys want to stay in the Greyhawk campaign, so that's what's going to happen. We're not going to be over Forbidden City. That's it. That's what yes, I went Forbidden
yeah.
City.
Forbidden City. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I haven't. Maybe down the road. That's another long one. But I got so much stacked up right now that I'm running and I'm
So
running
yeah,
castles. I'm running Castles and Crusades Troller game stuff now. The week after next, I start Verdant Rage, right?
yeah.
So there's all sorts of great new stuff out there.
Yeah. So how much of the stuff you run are your own stuff homebrew, or how much of it is written modules, so to
I'd
speak?
say it's over 80% homebrew.
Okay. Yeah.
Because look, if you got 24 modules on this wall, but and say I don't know, say
You
I've
have
done
900 adventures.
900
Yeah.
and times point two, I'd have to have
Yeah.
180 published adventures that I ran. Now, maybe in dungeons and little supplements and stuff, we got to
Yeah.
that, but yeah, it's a lot of it.
So most of it is stuff you put
Khaled,
together yourself. Yeah.
now, Kaladin Sama, I'm not a Forgotten Realms person. I've never run. Now, that doesn't mean that I haven't pilfered from Forgotten Realms. And I talked about this when Eric Boyd was on, because he wrote the final one of the Mirror of Dead Men series in the early Dragons in the 60s. Dungeon magazines in the 60s. There's 5 adventures, one in each dungeon magazine. They are fantastic. The
Yeah.
Mirror of Dead Men is placed in Forgotten Realms. I put it on the Dreadwood border in Keeland. I loved it. Fantastic. And I just made um, uh, the dead guy that it was. I just turned it into no roll instead, and changed it up for the
Yeah.
campaign. So, how do you get the old modules? All right. So, someone want to link Drive Through RPG? It's okay. That's what we're here for questions. You can get reprints. These are all right. Thanks to Canadian Ancient Gamer, Patrick. I want to show you a pile here. I got to start giving some more of these out. All right, and we will. I promise. Oh, those are Carlos's right here on the bottom. So I got some reprints here. These are all reprints from Drive Through right now. These are all not original. They're reprints. Okay, these are all I have. So you know what?
They look fantastic.
I think I have a duplicate here. All right, so we're gonna add a third giveaway. We're gonna give away Secret of Bone Hill reprint tonight too. All right.
Hmm.
So we got a third one. We're gonna give away the Secret of Bone Hill reprint as the third giveaway. Okay, so we're going to do the Troller Games 25, the Reaper Miniatures 25, and a Secret of Bone Hill reprint. Okay, sound good? So put that pile down here. All right. So that's a place to get them. Drive Through RPG.
Yeah.
eBay is tough, man, because the
Yeah.
the pricing on all these have gone up, especially in grid.
Yeah, but there are special game stores that specializes in the old stuff. It's not cheap, but if you want it, that's one way
Yeah.
of doing it. And because I know at Gen Con, they come to Gen Con and they have like shelves yeah, yards of shelf space with old stuff that they sell for often quite a lot of money, but it's available if you want to. But drive through and reprint is probably the best way to get a lot of it.
Yeah, and most of them are out. All right, so Mandy, I hope you sit tight. Sit tight. I'll go through the schedule for you of Gary Kahn and Underdark Uprising tonight. So if you sit tight during shoutouts, I'll go through the entire schedule. We'll do it
Yeah.
quickly. I don't want to make people drag on, but I promise to do that. Any other ones? I'm just curious. I know Isle of Dread's the top one people have said um, that I should run, but I've run a lot of them. I haven't run the Desert of Desolation series. I don't know if that interests me. I never run those.
But I was thinking, if you don't want to run Savage Tide and move so far away from home, to why dig into the
Isle of Dread.
the no, no. Hang on a second. Me and names. I'm terrible.
It's okay.
The other Paizo Hawk, the Age of Worms.
Yeah, I never ran Age of Worms.
Yeah, you should think about it. You have to back convert it a bit, so that's kind of tricky.
Yeah,
But, yeah,
I have to. I looked at the Cayuse tie-in and all,
yeah.
and here's the problem with the start point. I have developed Diamond Lake extensively, and it
Oh,
starts
okay. Yeah,
there. And
yeah,
I started doing the conversion, and I'm like,
yeah. And that doesn't fit your vision
yeah,
of the
and
town.
it just doesn't fit what I've done in my Greyhawk, and it's
Yeah,
really cool.
I can totally get that, because that's what I would do if I will look at an inspiration for
Yeah,
a module and say, it doesn't fit my theme of that area, so to speak. So yeah,
I never ran Night Below. I just got Dwayne. I just got that box set a month ago, and I won't even tell you what I had to pay for that. So I got a
yeah.
pristine condition Night Below. I never ran Night Below. So have you ever thought about one shot Rifts, Earths, to Coalition States? I have not. I have not. But I'm always up for one shots and put. You can always fit something somewhere in Greyhawk.
Yeah.
So I have about 30 Necromancer game modules, like the Hall of the Rainbow Mage, and I ran Aberrations, I ran Durgam Folly, I ran Chaos Rising. I have a whole bunch of them I haven't even gotten to, and plus I have a pile of Troller Games stuff I'm setting up and I'm stacking out now too. Vault of Laren
Yeah.
Care is another one. Volmoko I have. I have that too. Yeah, I got every single one. I have the two that were the Chinese only prints. Got those. Haven't run them yet. So I mean, some of them are hard to get. Favorites to run is Night of the Ravenloft Adventure. Okay. Interesting. Now we'll go back and we'll do a Dungeon and Dragon magazine one down the road very
Yeah.
soon on modules, because there's a lot of great Ravenloft adventures in that. Tales of the Shadowborn, I think is the name of it. Bane of the Shadowborn. That's a great Ravenloft module that I ran and placed it. Did you ever put Palace of the Silver Princess? I did not, Lonely Yeti, but Tim's dad, John, ran it for Hawk and Gazumba very early on, so I did play in
Mhm.
it. I never ran it though. Another B one. Never ran Castle Amber either. I stayed away from the B's and X's because of the basic versus advanced thing. Isn't that weird? Cool. Volta Car is I like Hall of the Rainbow Mage. I was trying because it fits into my quasi elementalist. So I tried to I'm gonna try and squeeze that in somewhere. So oh okay. There you go, man. Awesome. I'm glad you got them both. That's cool. Glad to see that you got those and you'll have fun with them and trust me, Dark Tower is cool. It is cool. Very, very neat. All right, so Anna.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do. I'm gonna by request. I'm gonna go over some of the schedules we have. So what do you got going on here in shout outs? So
Well, I made some. We had a session. We were supposed to have a session in my campaign today, and so we had it this morning for like 4 hours. But we got stuck in Fantasy Grounds. But now I, for the first time, starting to feel real confident in running my campaign in using Fantasy Grounds. So that feels really. I've been dreading the and I've been kind of getting to it. But now I've put stuff in. And so I put my NPCs, put monsters, added spells, items, and a whole bunch of stuff, and maps into it. So I'm starting to feel confident. So we had some setting up characters and stuff like that into it, and we're starting to like it. So Fantasy Grounds is a beast to get into, but once you get over that significant hump to start with, at least it's been for me, then it's starting to be more fun to work with, so to speak. So that is something that bodes well for future games, because once I start having all the stuff in there and I can run and without making preps and stuff much easier. But otherwise, it's the new generation of Greyhawk maps is taking forth a little bit. I've been stuck working on some commissions and stuff for a couple of days. So that way I've been kind of taken away a little bit from Greyhawk, but I'm coming back the upcoming week, at least several of the days. So there will be some. I hope that I can take the first areas and go into basic texturing and stuff, so we can have it. And then when I know that that will work, then it's time to start prepping and getting Lendor Isles up in full format. Because what I've done is that now there's a lengthy technical post on my Patreon that is open for everybody. So you can go to my Patreon and you can kind of look at that one. And I've also updated the area around Reader's Marsh in the Principality of Ulek to actually fit better with the Patriot of Ulek. So
So I
now,
got to change what's on my.
yes,
we
I
got
was
to do
going to
some
say we need
updates.
to, yeah, we need
We
to
need to do
update
my
your
map too.
map to match
Good.
and that's coming in the future update of the map that will be included. And there is a post of that too, and you can grab the screenshot of that area. So if you want to run it with and you want to see what the update is about. So that is what is, but coming more is that there will be more in-depth look at the new generation of Greyhawk maps, the first kind of step two, because now what I've done is I've done step one, and that is to do the basic elevation mapping of an area, and I've taken roughly 1,000 square miles, 100 by 100 miles, and I've done the elevation map. Now I'm going to render all that and put it back in again and start doing the rivers and doing basic texturing and all that stuff. And then level 3 is to put all the extra stuff in. That's the roads, putting the settlements and stuff like that in. But that will be something I will dig into later, so to speak. So now I want to know, because that phase I know how to do already. I don't need to work out how to do it. But so one or two, and when 2 is done in my test area for my campaign, Lendor Isle will commence. And then now I have the elevation difference. So I can work from 2 kilometers under the ocean level to 10 kilometers above. So I have the vertical maneuvering room that we need for tall mountains and stuff like that, and all the details. And the whole resolution is 5 feet per pixel. So it will be good enough that you can almost use it for battle maps. So you can use it as a base for battle maps. That's the whole idea. And so that is coming, and those are the near term projects, so to speak. And then there will be, I've overhauled my basic all the basic symbols, and now I'm going to dig in to do the other symbols too and make sure that they're up to date, and there's SVG versions and all that, because these maps need to go into both game engines and especially into GIS tools, and that's when I need to have better symbols, because the symbols look a bit scruffy, so they needed to have an upgrade. So that's basically what's happening. So yeah, so a lot of groundwork, literally groundwork, or virtual literal groundwork, so to speak.
But
But
it's
it's
great.
coming. So Lindor Isles we can dig into really, and now we have a lot of details. Unfortunately, we don't have Len to tell us all the things that we have done wrong, or I have done wrong, but at least we have a lot of the information, thankfully. So we can dig into that. And also all the stuff that I got from Len is now scanned and put in the vault that we have with the Len Lakofka group, so to speak. So we're going to go over it and collect, so we can get all the items, because Len have sent some stuff to me, some to Jay, some to yeah, Josh, and some to some others. So we try to collectively get, and then Gary, his partner, got me all the stuff that Len left after he passed away. So that way we trying to collect all the stuff so we can get as much as possible and make sure we can hand it out. So now it's more like, yeah, getting it in there and getting everything set up, and then figure out the best way of sharing it with everybody. So all the things are scanned and PDF and OCR. So they will be PDF and OCR, so you can kind of copy the text and search through them and stuff.
And
probably 300-400 pages or something like that at least. Yeah,
they're doing a great job. It's Puppet Dad, Jason,
Yep.
and Josh Pop and Great Babe, um, and Anna are doing a great job with that, which is fantastic. Notice my voice is starting
Yeah,
to go.
mine was kind of a little bit.
Yeah,
I've been
let me
babbling.
tell you
I've been
something.
eating and drinking. So
6 hours last night, and if you saw
yeah.
that, it was a blast. It was
Mm-hmm.
a real fun group we
Yeah.
had in last night's Saturday night special. So, well, thanks for that. All right, let me burn through all this. So,
Yep.
this is a short week coming up for me because of because of the Super Bowl. So I only have 2 streams this week because we're pushing that back to Monday, which I showed you. So Wednesday night, we have Legends and Lore. We have Swamps and Other Wastelands on Wednesday. It'll be interesting. We just that discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I believe then we'll be off the Wednesday after for Legends and Lore because I have a prior commitment. I think, Anna, right? We said we may be taking the 10th off.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. But so the Legends of Lore next week, upcoming Wednesday, Swamps and Other Wastelands, Anna, myself, and Mike Bridges. And we'll see if someone else wants to participate. Yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of. I love the Defile Glades. Love them. That's a great place to
Mm-hmm.
discuss. We finish up adventure number 900 on Thursday night. The Ancient Awakening. That ties into what happened last night. All right, so at least they have some more information, but it's a different adventuring group. Um, these winter whites and the undead seem to be controlled by specific individuals in certain areas. So then they got to try and figure that out, and that will be. We finish that up on Thursday, and we have Reaper giveaway for some mini packs on Thursday. Normally we have a Gabbin on Sunday. We don't because of the Super Bowl. It gets pushed back to Monday, and we'll have our nice little fun discussion I talked about earlier. D&D movies of the 80s and 90s next Monday, a
Yep.
week from Monday. All right, we'll do a fun one there, and we'll just have fun with it. Let's just
Yep.
talk about all sorts of the cheesy ones. I got a whole list of them. And you notice I have a lot of the posters on my walls in my
Oh,
basement
that's
too.
good.
So
Yep.
yeah, and that'll be yes, Canadian there. By your request. Yes, the original Hawk right there, Hawk the Slayer.
What have you put me into, Patrick? Yep.
Yes. So if you know, John Terry was on, I think he was on General Hospital a long time. The Hawk the Slayer. He's also has a momentous quote from Full Metal Jacket. He is the lieutenant of the Stars and Stripes in the rear with the gear. That is John Terry as well. If you put 2 and 2 together, there you go. A little trivia for you there. All right, down the road. The Gabbin after that, and I got to get a bunch of guests lined up, is the Underdark Uprising Prelude show, and that is Sunday, February 14th. All right, so that's in Sunday after that, and that will be going into the week of that Underdark Uprising. All right, and we're gonna have. I'm going to show you all the great stuff that's going to be given away, and we're going to show all the channels participating, what maybe their stories are like. We'll have a lot of them on as guests. And that'll be the Sunday before we start Underdark Uprising. Let me switch over my folders here. I got to get to the Underdark Uprising folder. All right, here's the schedule for Underdark Uprising. Hopefully all the channels are showing it, but this is Friday. We start with Wily Hobbit at 8 a.m. on Friday. This is all set through Tiltify. So if you go to the bottom, if you go to my Underdark Uprising right now on Tiltify, you click on that logo, it'll take you right to the donate page. I'm not saying do it now, but you can, the donations things up. It works, and it's connected into my Streamlabs. Wally Hobbit at 8, Prayers Rejects at 12. Troller Games at 4 with Steven Chenault, the owner of Troller Games DMing, and then Friday night's finale for Friday is John at Blue Box, and he's having people, a lot of his viewers are going to join in and play in that game, which will be really cool. Saturday, we start at 4 a.m. The Ever Mysterious Tim at 4 a.m. on my channel here, and then Carlos at 8, Will at Wicked Studios at noon, Nightheart at 4, and back here for the finale at 8 p.m. Okay. Well, it'll be a fun one. I know Anna's playing in it, Stella, and I still think Eric's playing in it, but he hasn't talked to me in a couple weeks, so I gotta get on him again. But we have plenty of great people that will be involved in that. All right, Gary Con. The schedules are. You can see the events now. All right, they've all been approved. And let me see. Yes, it is. Lenderal, L4 and L5 are on. Hi, we're almost done. Hi. L4 and L5 are on Dragon's Foot. Absolutely, Yeti. Thank you for that. All right, let me get to Gary Con here. Here is the schedule as of now, and I've had to update this 12 times because of
Yep.
I'm doing my
You know,
best with
because
all the
of my
politics.
it was and I was part of the problem because I
Well,
convinced you to
I've done it. I've done my best here. So
Yeah.
Thursday, this is all on and that's the wrong. Well, remove that. Wrong one. Wrong
Okay.
one. There's an updated one Thursday. Here we go. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Let me flip this over here. Gary Con Thursday. I wish I could just put in the score like I used to. Okay. So here's our open spot too. It's on Gary Con Greyhawk's channel. Okay. A lot of the streamers, if they have the capability, will be dual streaming. But Luke is insisting that we stream on Gary Con Greyhawk channel. Alrighty, for most events. Mike Disney kicks it off at 8 a.m. I have a 4-hour open slot. It's the only open slot I have for 24-hour coverage from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Right there, I need someone to step up, but you have to be an affiliate streamer to go into that spot. All right, or stream on if you're a streamer for another channel like Praters or Blue Box or whoever. Okay, so reach out to me. Blue Box is at 2. Greyhawk Awakening. We have a great DMs roundtable Thursday night at 7. This is all Central Time, by the way, everyone. So it's 8 Eastern.
Yeah, instead of Eastern. So
this is all Central Times, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
everyone. Central. Okay. Stephen Chenault is going to be in our panel. John Birchfield, Blue Box, Anna, myself, a couple others. We're going to have a really cool discussion like we do with our roundtables, and a lot of different topics will be brought up and questions from the audience. So we'll have that at 7. Dragons in the Dining Room at 9. Then we're going to have a little show for Anna and I. It's called Greyhawk After Dark. Because of the way the schedule's set and they have 20 and we can't overlap, it'll probably only be on my channel. It's just the way it works, but that's all right. So, and then the late nighter is Armin from New Zealand against the Giants, part 1. That's 12. That's late. That's the middle of the night. He's from New Zealand, so it's fine for him. But just note that this is continuous coverage. You'll see we got the whole, it's a 5-6 hour game right there. That is Thursday. Okay, Friday. I'm DMing Horror in the Hools Part 1, 7 a.m. Central. That's 8 a.m. my time. That's early.
Hey, yep.
Wily Hobbit at noon Central. All right, that day he's running G2. Very cool. This is all Greyhawk, Mandy, all of it. Working with Gary Gygax with Stephen Chenault, Troller Games at 4. Anna, this time slot is going to be probably on. I won't go into the politics of this, but it's going to be on my channel because yes, which is fine. Carlos is at 7. Still hasn't given me the name of his event at that time, and then our After Dark chat will be back on my channel and Against the Giants Part 2 for our min. All right, that is Friday, so we got a full schedule then too. Yes, all over the place. All right, Saturday, the big Saturday. Look at this schedule. Lore Masters Arcanum Blue Box's talk show at 6 a.m. Central.
Oh, wow, then I have to get up early at 4 a.m. in the morning. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then the ever mysterious Tim's game at 8 a.m. Followed by Blue Box back on with his open sign up one shot at 1. Because there's a crossover, Nighthawk Gaming's expedition to the Barrier Peaks will be on the Loch Geneva Greyhawk Gary Con channel because it's the only place that they could be fit. At 2, the main event, my Grand Joust competition at Altamira at 6 p.m. Central that night, and we're gonna have a joust. It's gonna be an RPG joust, and
So
we're gonna.
I have to get up 3 o'clock in the morning and then be on to watch because I don't want to miss the Blue Box in the morning and because the Arcanum, because his talk shows are fantastic.
So
and then I have to take a nap midday and then be ready for.
It's 24 hours. They wanted me to stream 24 hours for this on this channel, and we're doing it. And then
you have to sleep on a cot.
I gotta sleep
next
sometime.
to your computer. Yeah.
And then, hey Megan, and then Praetor's Rejects, the Fane of the Drow, Bashman, Jeff Searcy is DMing that. It starts at midnight Central, and he's gonna go to like whenever he's done that middle. That's his middle of the night. So we got the middle nights covered all 3 nights. Sunday, there's only 4 things on Sunday. And Sunday's events. Where is Sunday? Gary Johnson. Here it is. Okay. Horn Holes Part 2 for me, 7 a.m. Central. Wicked Studios, a perfect situation, 11 a.m. Central. Greyhawk Awakening Session 2, 3 p.m. Central. The final event, just like we had at Greyhawk Con, the Ask the Experts. Gary Julian, Alan Grohe, Dennis Tetro. I believe Eric Boyd is in on that too. He's just got to verify sometime in February, and we'll probably get a couple other people. So, yeah, I have 11 streams. Okay.
Yeah.
Blue Box has 4. And then, so a lot of them, all the other channels have 1 or 2, but there he is. So. Oh my God. All right. So we have a time change already. All right, Frank, whatever. So if we go back to oh my gosh. All right. Okay. We got to change your sign up time then, Frank. Make sure it's changed. So Expedition to Barrier Peaks has now been moved to 4 p.m. Central. I will change the schedule again. All right, Frank. That's cool though. Thank you for letting me know. We'll check in. Can you check in TT and make sure it's switched? Because the time is correct there for me. This is always happening. So
yeah. Well, it's not tomorrow, so there's still some time.
Yeah, they got a month and a half, 2 months or whatever. It's actually 2 months, a little less than 2 months. So that is what's going on. We have 26 events, 24-hour coverage over 4 days, and I have 1 open slot that I need to fill. So, Rich, I put it on myself. Remember, I don't have to produce all these shows. I don't have to schedule these. I don't have to do the technical aspect. That people are doing that. They're doing all the connections. It's not like Greyhawk Con. I'm just worried about once we get it all set up, I'm worried about my streams. That's it.
Yeah.
So, but it's 11 of them. So,
yeah, that's a lot in itself.
Yeah, but that's what's going on. So, thank you all. Let's do the giveaways. We got 3 giveaways.
Yeah, exactly. You had the giveaways to do.
Maybe post all 3. There's 4 of them. I will put that up, but right now I'm 100% concentrated on Underdark Uprising. Once the fundraiser's done, then I'm all in on GaryCon. But I don't want to sidestep this fundraiser because I want to double what we did last year. So that Gabbin in 2 weeks, trust me, wait till you see all the cool stuff. I have over $1,000 in complimentary gifts to give away to everyone from all of our sponsors for this. So yeah, I'm going, once Underdark Uprising's over, then I'm going full tilt on GaryCon. But I got to get all this stuff prepped up. So, all right. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight. Thank you all. Tremendous audience as usual. And please, if you haven't signed up, I'll give you 30 seconds to sign up. We got 3 giveaways. To make it easy on me, I'm going to call out which it is and pick the winner, okay? So, to make it, what did you win? You won a cheesesteak, a Philly cheesesteak, a real one. Josh, how's that? So, we are cranking things up. Yeah, I hope you got something out of this a little bit. I know that I talk a lot, and unfortunately Tim got tied up, and I wanted Tim's spin on Dark Tower and on Fortress Elendar, but he couldn't make it. But hey, Anna and I got through it pretty
Yeah.
well,
I was
and
a little bit helpful here and there. So
yeah, this was great. We had a fun
yeah.
time with it,
Hmm.
and that's what
Yeah.
Gabbins are all about. It's just
Yeah.
whatever
This was a lot
goes.
of fun. Yeah.
All right, I'm
And
going
thank
to
you everyone in chat. There's so
yeah,
many awesome comments and stuff together
definitely.
so today. So yeah,
And
as
I
always.
always love comments, and YouTube's a lot easier to comment on. Twitch, they're up for 90 days, but whatever, however many they have it up. But you can at least see the comments from the event, but you can comment on it in YouTube, so you can do either one. So, if you want to, put in some ideas there. All right. Thank you. So, here we go. Closing it out.
Yep. And don't press the wrong button.
Yes.
Oh, good.
All right. So, here's the deal. I'm doing this one first. If you already have this, then you get the troller gains one, okay? But I'm going to do this one first. That way I don't do this one last and someone would win and they all already have this. This is a reprint, okay? The courtesy, this is donated from Canadian Ancient Gamer. All right, so we're going to do Secret of Bone Hill because it's on the wall. All right, winner, Bloodwild.
Oh,
I think
awesome.
you were going to enjoy that I was giving this away, weren't you? So that is awesome. You already have it. Okay, there you go. See? All right,
Yep.
so Troller Games gift certificate to Bloodwild. All right?
Then you have to draw that one again and
yes.
see.
Troller Games.
Yep.
TLG
Yep.
Bloodwild. All right. Cool. One sec here. I got two quickie whispers to make sure. Oh, really? Well, if he does, Antiquitous, have him reach out to me quickly if you don't mind. Okay, next winner. Don't hit the wrong button, Jay. Don't hit the wrong button. Some people don't. Daka Flacka Flame.
Yeah.
Do you have the Secret of Bone Hill? If you don't, you should have it because Len is a legend. There you go. Daka does not. Daka, you got it. There, grats. Daka, I may have your address, but whisper it to me. I may already have it though. But awesome, Daka Flacka.
Awesome.
All right.
Congratulations.
L1. Awesome. The third. And just remember, we got more giveaways coming on every, the only one I really don't do a lot of giveaways on is Legends and Lore. So, last one. $25 gift certificate to Reaper. I mean, can't be anything better than that, too. Here we go. Last winner is Sorrow's Tale. But unfortunately, he's not on. So I'm going to ask you all. He's streaming now. I rated into him last week, so I'm not going to rate into him this week. And he's streaming. So, do you guys you determine? Should I give it to him? He's streaming. He had to go in and do a stream, and he's DMing for other people. Is that good? Okay. All right. Cool. I'll let him know. All right.
Yeah.
I know it's a good show, but I rated into him last week, so I'm going to rate into someone else. It's only, I try and spread the wealth around a lot, and I rated into him with Ed Greenwood last week, right? So yeah. So I'll let you. I'll let him know. Sorrow's Tale won the Reaper. And he's got an excuse for not being on right now because he's got players. So yes, got it. You're all very kind. So thank you all for a great show.
Yeah.
So here's a funny thing. We got offline last night. We raided into Praetor's Rejects. 10 seconds later, Chris Solo, Fable 42, raided into us, and we were already off. Right, Anna? I was like,
oh.
So,
yeah, that was too bad.
Yeah, I'm going to raid back into Chris tonight to return the favor because he didn't know. You can't tell on Twitch.
No.
So,
yeah.
Oh, I just, 1 second. I just, there you go. I did something. See? You got to watch what you're doing here with technology. So we're going to raid into, awesome. Thank you. We're going to raid into Chris Solo. Thank you all for. I had a blast tonight talking about some experiences and adventures. And are they? Well, that's good to hear. So we're gonna hop in to Chris, and we'll see you all Wednesday night for Legends and Lore. And thank you, and have a great night. See you soon.
Yep. Bye.
Am I gonna hit the wrong button? I think I am.
Yeah, nothing happened. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, Tim owes us one. You're absolutely right, Mike. Hold on tight, please, as I set the rate up here. So Mandy, if you're still here, reach out to me about that time slot if it works.
We have snow up on our hills here. So.
Really?
Oh yeah.
All right, going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have a great night. See you Wednesday. Yeah, 60's good. All righty.